Welcome to episode 2 of the Ballin4God Talk Show, and it's me and Travis Severin here, and we just wrapped up a good week last week, and this week we got some good guys come back. We got Shane Garner, the athletic director at Benton, longtime head coach at Sesser. Then we got Danny Czerwinski, the voice of the Rangers, Benton Rangers, and then we got Matt Wynn, who's a good Christian. He was a good coach, and he was a longtime teacher at Benton High School, Meridian High School, Benton Junior High, and he just retired this year. And it's a good episode, and we're excited to get into it. And what we're going to start off here with is our winner from last week's trivia. If you didn't know, he's going to get some free merch, the winner. And the winner of last week's trivia was Ryan Ziegler, Field Focus. Go follow Field Focus on Instagram and Facebook. They great photos. But he answered to the question about Mike Root, and the question was, when and where was Mike Root at when he made his first playoff appearance? And it was the Marion Wildcats in 1985, led by Steve Lacy.
Exactly right. Steve Lacy was a tremendous football player in the South 7 and at Marion. Steve was a very, 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 very good player.
Yeah. So did you ever get to watch that team, or was that a little bit before your time? Or?
I did not see that team. I know a lot of guys from Marion that talk about that team and talk about how good those guys were. And obviously Coach Rude talked about, Steve Lacy and those guys. Very, very good team the Wildcats had then. And, we're kind of segueing out of football now. We're going to talk a little bit more about football, and a lot of this show is going to be about basketball. But the same heritage we have in basketball in Southern Illinois, obviously we talked about on the first show last week. Football also a huge part of our area.
Yes, definitely, and I think sports in general is just a huge part, and it's just wild. I mean, you could find a big community and small community, big community, whatever, in each individual sport: wrestling, baseball, football, track and field. But it's always big here. Now we're going to kind of move into our next week's question. If you want to just introduce it, and
well, a lot of this part of the show, we're going to talk to Matt Wynn, who's actually going to be our third guest of the show, and Matt wrote a book about Rich Herron. It's an awesome book, and Matt Wynn will talk about the book that he wrote about Coach Herron. Matt had a chance to go all the way back and talk to Coach Herron's teams from 1960 all the way through the 80s, which is pretty awesome. And just the career that Rich had at Benton. Then he eventually, obviously, goes to SIU, and then coached at Marion High School, coached at Wynn College. But a really, really cool stat that I want to talk about, and impressive. How many South 7 titles did Rich Herron have? How many South 7 titles did Rich Herron win when he was the coach at Benton High School? And this number to me is gaudy. It's unbelievable. That conference was unreal in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. A tremendous sports conference. And if you can answer us on the gram, Instagram, is that right? Is that how we're going to?
Do you want to do a comment this time?
Yes.
First person to comment on the Instagram or TikTok. Instagram or TikTok.
What about these guys that comment on YouTube?
Or Facebook. How about this? First person to comment, I'll keep my tabs on it. First person to comment on any social media, wherever you see this at, you get to win this free
merch.
Hey, you got to answer it correctly, though. It's not
swag.
Not only do you got to be a first person to comment, you got to answer it correctly.
And you got to answer it correctly so you can be, and Russ, tell the people, because like when we talk to Coach Wynn later, not everyone is as well versed, because you and Dr. Young are in that generation that know everything about social media. Tell people how they can watch all the different stuff that we do.
All right, so if you're wanting to watch it, head over to YouTube. You can find us at Ballin4God, Ballin, the number 4, and then God. You can find us on YouTube. It's a cross. It's Jesus on the cross, and then you got Psalms 23:4, and then Ballin4God on top. And you can find us on Spotify as well if you want to. I believe you can watch it on Spotify as well, but you can most importantly listen and hear all the stories. And it's the same thing, Ballin4God on Spotify. And you can see on YouTube, you can see all of our past highlights, and you can also see all of our past podcasts. And on Spotify, you can see the past podcasts that I had earlier with some notables like Isaac Billington. But on YouTube, you can find us, our highlights, and then on and podcasts, and on Spotify, we are live there.
What about if people just want to follow Ballin4God?
If you're wanting to just find us and follow us and keep up to date with all the sports in our area, you can find us on Facebook. And you can find us on Instagram as well, and along with TikTok.
Tic Tac. Terry Gower, Tic Tac, right?
Terry Gower.
Papa T's going to have to come on sometime. But, yeah, that's the big trivia question. Free merchant in the future. We might even do it with this winner of next week. We're going to start having the person that wins come sit in the big chair.
Yep. If you comment first
and you win,
you get to be on here.
Get to be on with us.
If you don't want to be on here, you just let us know, and we'll give a special recognition to you.
Yeah. You don't have to come on the big show, but if you want to, we can do it. No, it's this week's going to be a fun week.
Yes, very fun week, and make sure to stay tuned, and we'll catch you at the end.
Yep.
All right, now we're moving into our first guest of the show, and we got Shane Garner, the athletic director of Benton Consolidated High School and longtime head coach around the area. And Coach Garner, you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, Shane Garner, born and raised in Franklin County, graduate of Sesser Valier, taught and coached at Sesser Valier for 15 years, and then made the decision to become a Ranger and come across the lake, and been there. This is my 4th year now starting at Benton.
Russ and I were talking before today. Obviously, we know you. Russ just graduated from Benton High School. I have a son that just graduated. I have one there now. I've known you since you were a little pea-jinker, long time. Know your family, know a lot of people you're related to. Obviously, I had family in Sesser growing up, and you grew up over there. Talk a little bit about growing up in Sesser and the people you kind of wanted to be like and watched, and then what led you to obviously a 3-sport athlete, or more than 3. I know you have a 3-sport athlete, but
4 actually.
4, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, small town kid growing up in Sesser. When you're in a small town, you kind of do everything. But I think the biggest benefit I had is I had an older brother, and so my brother is 9 years older than me.
Cowboy Craig.
So yes, yeah, Boot Scoot Boogie himself. So I got drugged to everything. Every little league game, every junior high basketball game, high school, anything that was going on, I was drugged to. So I was surrounded by sport growing up, and lucky for me, that group was really talented. I grew up watching Brian Lahr and Wes Wilt and Jason Ryan Eubanks and Scott Brzezinski and Jamie Veach and all these guys playing, and so.
A great era of Sesser
Correct,
sports.
And they were extremely talented and were on great teams, and so that's what I wanted to do. That's who I wanted to be, and so, I directed my life around that, and bottom line is, I love to compete, and no matter what it was, and so my favorite season was whatever season it was. I went to a small school which had some advantages, so. I played football, I played basketball, I ran track, I played baseball at the same time, and it was just one of the things I was able to do because I like to compete, and I didn't really have a favorite per se. I just like to play, and I think, when I was young, just being around that all the time, I just wanted to do it, and so I went through school and high school and all that, just playing and being a part of anything I could.
You got to mention, some of the all-time greats from Sesser, and Brian Lahr is one of them. And you got to coach alongside him for many years. And what was it like getting to go from watching him play to coaching alongside him?
It was really neat and kind of a neat story. Brian and my brother were best friends growing up, and so Brian was always around. And even further than that, my dad and his mom were all in the same class, and so our families have been pretty close for a very long time. And then when I became a head coach at Sesser, I didn't have a coaching staff, and so Brian was in transition in some things, and so he was willing to kind of come on and help me out and be kind of that, I don't want to say older mentor type of person, but that's what he was. He was someone who's been around, he's coached, he played ball at a high level, and so he was able to help me out and do that, and it was kind of just, we're kind of the same cut in how we do things, and so we meshed together extremely well.
Both quarterbacks,
both played at Rend Lake, so
both played at SIU.
There were things that just went together really, really well, and I think that the main thing is we both had the same vision in what we wanted to do and what we wanted to accomplish, and so that drove us both to help each other out and to make our teams and our kids the best that we could.
I asked this question last week when we were talking with Callahan Roper about being a three-sport athlete, and people know I've been told I'm a tad too hard on mine sometimes, but I just had a son go through 4 years of Benton High School, a very competitive high school. We'll get to that here in a little bit with you being the AD at Benton, but playing three sports. Now I have a son that's a freshman that's in the middle of his second sport. Lord willing, he'll play a third sport this year as well. You played four. What do you say? I mean, I know you handle a lot of the strength and conditioning at the high school. I know you were big with that at Sesser Valier. I mean, when I walked into the school today, you pointed up to me, there's the game changer, the weight room up there. I mean, what are your thoughts on a lot of kids specialize nowadays?
Yes. I'm anti-specialization. I think there's a time and place when you have to choose what you want to do or what you think your best option is, and maybe you focus on that, but you don't isolate it. And kind of my story, because the weight room has been a huge part of my success, but it wasn't when the start. Never touched a weight in high school.
Wow.
Wouldn't
know that now.
I had a couple offers to play basketball coming out of high school. Rend Lake College was one, Millikan University was the other, and South Dakota State was one. Now, this was back when they were D2, so they were not who they are now.
Sure.
But I had an opportunity to be a fighting jackrabbit. And
who wouldn't want to be?
And so I didn't want to go to Millikan. My parents told me I wasn't going to South Dakota. And so it wasn't that I settled on Rend Lake, but I didn't have many options. And so I go to Rend Lake to play basketball. The baseball coach talks to me. He knew about me. And so I ended up playing two sports at Rend Lake, which is great, had a great thing. But at Rend Lake, I never completed a season.
Wow.
Played two sports, never completed a season because I was injured.
Wow.
Broke my wrist my freshman year, 2/3 of the way of the basketball season, which also took away half of my freshman baseball season. Halfway through my sophomore year in basketball, I blew out my MCL, which took away that half, and then also took away the rest of my baseball time at Rend Lake. And so, at your sophomore year in JUCO, that's an important year because that's when people are looking at you. And so when I finished Rend Lake College, nobody wanted me for anything. And so made a decision to kind of change what I was going to do. Made the decision to go to SIU on an academic scholarship. And now I had tremendous coaches at Rend Lake, especially on the baseball side. Chris Modelmog and then Bobby Simpson was my coach my sophomore year. And Bobby, he said, hey, you need to try and do something. And I said, well, there's nothing I got. And so he said, what are your thoughts about trying to walk on at SIU? And I said, why in the world would they want a middle of the 80s right-handed pitcher, He said, because you're free. And so
Always helps to be free.
Correct. And so I went and tried out, and I made the team, and that is when my kind of what I could do as an athlete really changed, because I walk in, I make the team, I start fall ball, and I meet a guy named Eric Klein, who was our head strength coach at the time, who was with Coach Kill, traveled around with him to Minnesota and all that. And then a guy by the name of Mead Smith was my strength coach for the baseball team.
What was the name?
Mead Smith.
Mead.
What a name.
Mead. Not meat with a T, with a
Not
D?
Mead, with a D.
Mead Smith. Okay.
Mead Smith, who is now the head strength coach at SIU now.
Okay.
And those guys completely changed who I was as an athlete.
How'd your body change with them?
Here's where I got really addicted to I got addicted to seeing, when I do this work, what can my body do now? I never tried to be faster before. They made me faster. I never tried to jump higher before. They made me jump higher. I never really lifted weights or tracked weights or did the things that they did, but it just kept growing, and I kept growing, and what I was able to do just kept expanding. I went from being a kid in high school who could throw 84 to 85 and maybe 86 when I was in junior college to throwing 90, 91, 92 now at the Division I level. And I went from a guy who never had an offer in baseball to my last 2 years at SIU, because I got to play 3 since I didn't play my sophomore year at Rend Lake, to being on a Division I scholarship for 2 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so
Perseverance.
so there's a lot of things that played into that, and my journey is a lot different than some of these journeys that these kids have now, where they're just coming right out, because I had to earn every single step along the way. And I think by me having that journey is why I've been able to have success as a coach and all that, because that's the process I'm trying to teach these kids. It's not just to show up and things are handed to you. It's you got to work from day one and keep working. And because I lived it, things can change. Like literally, you can go from a guy who can't pitch in a JUCO game to a guy who's on a Division I scholarship. And I believe that 100% because I lived it. And I owe all that credit to those two guys who got with me, worked with me, and were able to basically take who I was as an athlete and just expand it and to see and it's amazing what can happen when you do those things.
Oh, that's very inspiring. I didn't know that it was all that much. I knew that you went to Rend Lake and I knew you went to SIU, but I didn't know that it was that much, I guess you could say, struggle and then perseverance through it. It's now that you've lived through that, and how could that, whenever you go to help high school kids, how can that help them knowing that they know that you've gone through a lot?
Well, I hope it gives me credibility because I can say, hey, I've walked this, I've done this, and I hope also it gives a little bit of hope of saying, hey, I wasn't a Dr. Tedeschi in high school that everybody was drooling over and wanted. Like, that wasn't me. But I still got there, Now, my route was a little different and maybe took a little longer than some people, but I still got there. And so I hope by living that, now I can come with these guys and I can start them day one where I was my junior year in college, And so hopefully I can speed up that process for them of, hey, here's what's going to happen. Here's what your body's going to need to do when you get here. So let's start this process now. And by the time it's time to get there and they need you, those college coaches are like, all right, I can work with this.
Let me throw this at you. Knowing what you do, Russ just went through Benton High School. I'm super old, so it's been forever when I was at Benton High School. But and Dr. Young's just out of high school also up there. But, I know with Brody being in school now and Trey just getting done, you're big into the nutrition part of it.
Absolutely.
You're big into kind of touch on that. I know Russ was going to ask you what dead bird. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
You were going to talk about that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I just stole your question. Sorry, you can punch me. You can take two from Danny later. But kind of segue into meal prep, nutrition, supplements, all that part, working out. How in 2025, you're so far behind if you're not doing this stuff, right?
Yeah, and honestly, it used to be you would do this and you'd be ahead. Now it's you got to do this just to kind of keep up. And basically, I'll kind of keep it short and simple. Is there are things our body needs to operate, and there's things our body needs to operate efficiently. And by giving ourselves the proper nutrition, the proper amount of protein, the proper amount of carbs that it needs, the proper amount of fat that it needs to process hormones, especially in young men and young women who are developing, those things are extremely vital in setting the body up for success. It's just like a vehicle. You wouldn't put, diesel in a gasoline engine or vice versa.
I don't have to answer
Don't do that, okay? Because it just doesn't work that. And it's the same way with our bodies. We got to feed it what it needs. And if we can give it what it needs, our body can do some things. And so my whole thing is being able to provide kids with the information so that their bodies can do what it's optimally supposed to do.
Go ahead and ask him, because everybody always thinks it's because you're at Benton now. The name
Correct,
of this. Come on.
Yeah. So I know that Deadbird started years ago, and I know because Peyton Bates went to my church, and he told me about the Deadbird saying, and then I'd always heard about it, seen you post about it. You got it on the back of your Jeep.
Yeah.
So what's Deadbirds?
So Deadbird started
Not West Frankfort.
Correct. It has zero to do with West Frankfort, which a lot of people think now, but it does not. And maybe we'll play on that, maybe we won't. But Deadbird started during COVID. With COVID, everything shut down. So I bought equipment and started my own gym in my garage. And so it was just us lifting. Now, I'm working out one day. The garage doors are open. It's a nice day. And a bird flew in my garage. Well, it flew into my weight room. And it wedged itself in the window pane of my garage. Well, there's an air unit in this window pane, and it's screwed together, so I can't move it. So this bird gets in this window and it dies. And Russ, it's still there today. I can't get it out. And so my kids started calling it the Dead Bird Gym because there's literally a dead bird in it. So that's how the name started. But because of COVID and because of things not going, I started doing some videos and asking people if they needed help. And so we started producing workout programs for kids and athletes and for people. And so it kind of became, it started as a joke and it kind of became a business for me of remote training. And so before I became the AD, you know, I was remotely trained, and I'm still remote training some small schools and basically what it started as, Russ, was I wanted to help kids in small schools like me who didn't have somebody to help them. You know, I went through school and didn't have anybody to help me with weights or know it, and so it was just kind of a thing for me to give back to the small school kids who, hey, I want to train, I want to become a better athlete, but I don't know what to do and I don't have anybody to help me.
Kind of switching gears on us now. You get out of college, weren't married yet, right?
Correct.
You end up back at your alma mater. You end up at SV. You coach with Brian Lahr. You end up becoming the head coach. I was looking at this earlier. You start off the mountaintop. I mean, your first year as head basketball coach, you get fourth place in state.
Yeah.
I mean, no pressure, right? First year there.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you that, and people might sound this crazy, but I don't know if that was the best thing for me. As a matter of fact, I know it wasn't the best thing for me. And I think things just aligned, and I think God blessed me and Brian and those kids in that year. And we were able to do it. Tremendous experience, memories, all the great stuff. I mean, it was great. But I don't really feel like I became a good coach until about 3 or 4 years later.
In 2014, for those that don't know, listening to the podcast, 2014 was the season you guys got fourth in state. Correct. Your first year as a head coach.
First year as a head coach, I went to the state tournament. So set the bar high. So 2014, I become the head basketball coach at 30 years old, and we go to the state tournament. You know, just bam. So yeah, the bar was set really high. But I really struggled the years after that. I mean, we won a regional the next year, but then I win 10 games. Wow. So I go from winning a state trophy my first year to winning 10 games 2 years later. And so I really had to dig in and say, okay, what am I after here? What do I want to do? And I really don't feel like, because me and Brian even just talked about this the last week, and we didn't really feel like we became like really good at what we did until our last couple years at Sesser Valier. We made it back to the Elite Eight, played in the Super, you know, got beat by Moweaqua Central A&M. But we really felt like that was when we really were coaching and teaching at our best. Because what we taught that year, like compared to what we were doing, it was light and day.
11 and a half years ago, March 12th, 2014, I know you wouldn't know what that night is. Did you think you'd be here now?
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
You win a super sectional that night.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Marlowe, is he the best kid you've ever coached basketball-wise? He's got to be up there.
He's one of them. And here's what I'll say about Nick Marlowe. Here's how I don't rank kids all
I like
that.
to put pressure on coaches.
But Nick was our point guard, and he controlled things offensively. But he was also our number one defender, and he guarded kids. And he was also the kid who worked hardest in practice every day. And so it's hard to beat kids like that.
Sure.
You know, and
you root for kids like that.
And I've had other ones too that were just like that. Tyler Winchester was like that. Gavin Woodland was like that. Like, you know, Garrett Gunner was like that. I was blessed to have kids who believed in me, believed in themselves, and believed what we wanted to do. And they worked every single day for it. And so,
how many gunners did you coach at Sesser?
37.
37 gunners.
And now I'm here at Benton, and I've got 2 more coming. And I've got Bryce's girls. So,
yes.
So yeah.
And you played with Bryce.
There was a game against Ziegler. I had 5 gunners on the floor at one time.
Wow. That is wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 3 brothers and then 2 cousins.
You know, so it's time getting towards the end of this little segment here, but I just want to close it out with, you know, you want to just share your testimony, you know, just like, and, you know, a little bit of like how God's worked in your life over the last couple of years. And
you're going to get me emotional, Russ. You know, and I think anyone who walks with the Lord maybe can be able to say this. Deep down, I'm a terrible human being. I mean, I am selfish. I want my own way. I want to succeed, and I want other people to fail. But I had an interaction with Jesus, and he kind of shifted me out of that to where the focus is not necessarily on me, but the focus is on how can I help everybody else. And so, not saying I don't get in that default mode every once in a while, because I do, but my reprogrammed, my new, not BC Shane, but AD Shane, it's how can I help somebody be better today?
I'm going to steal one last question, and if we go over time, you guys are great at editing. 3 names real quick. He didn't know because Russ is extremely organized and I fly off the hip. You know that about me. It's you want to get emotional. I wrote 3 names down because when we talked to Matt Wynn third today, I know he'll get emotional about this, but Freddie Seiler, Don Garner, and obviously Lonnie Garner. How much of those men affect your life?
Well, you are going to get me emotional. I was raised by 3 men who were extremely hard workers. All 3 men were coal miners. I come from a coal mine family. The men in my family worked hard. And what I learned from them was there's time in your life when life doesn't become about you anymore. It becomes about everybody else, and those you have to take care of, and those you have to protect. And, man, why'd you have to do this to me?
Because I know how important and how special they were to you,
Yeah.
and it's made you the man you are.
Yeah, and, my dad used to say, back when I was a young knucklehead, thought I knew everything, he said, I don't drive 2 hours in the middle of the night to go a mile underground for you to take it easy.
Wow.
And so, at 16, 17, 18, I didn't really understand what that meant. But now that he's gone, and I'm 42, I know exactly what he meant because I'm living it.
Yeah.
And so I'm extremely grateful for those men who paved the way for me to be able to do what I love to do. I don't have to do that type of work that they did because they gave me the opportunity to excel at something that I wanted to excel at.
Wow. Love it, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to get in your
No.
feels, but I know you. I mean, I watched you grow up, having family in Sesser. I know, I won't say the guy's name, but I know someone that says, Travis, there's a worn-out basketball court that I used to watch a little Shane Garner shoot shots for years, and it didn't matter if it was 20 degrees or if it was 90 degrees, and you were out there working on your jump shot 12 months out of the year.
I learned that I will tell you this. I learned at a young age that everything didn't matter, work had to be done. And so I had a father who sacrificed, and I have a mother who taught me what hard work was.
We better get Cheryl in there too, sorry. I don't want to get in trouble.
I will tell you that she's the toughest one of them all because she took care of all of us, and she's still taking care of all of us. Yeah, and they're...
Come on.
Yeah, and Ma Carroll's right there with us. No, I was very blessed with a family who supported me and allowed me to chase my dreams.
And now you've got a wife and 3 kids.
Yeah, and and they do the same thing for me. There's a lot of things that was, me leaving home and coming to Benton was a big, hey, what are you doing? What's this going to look like? And they've had to give up quite a bit for that, but you have to make decisions on what you feel like is right to do, and this was the right move for me, and I think it has proven itself over and over and over.
Well, thank you, Coach, for getting on. It's a blessing to have you on here. It's always been one of my favorite coaches throughout high school, so it's awesome.
I appreciate that, Russ.
Appreciate it,
Thank
Shane.
you. Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, that wrapped up that one.
All right, round number 2 of the Ballin4God Talk Show, Sports Show, Podcast, or whatever we are, Russ. But this is an easy one for me. Known Danny a long time. And for all the people out there, this is Danny Czerwinski, longtime voice of the Benton Rangers. He's been involved in Jefferson County sports, Franklin County sports, all of Southern Illinois sports for a long time. Danny, set the record straight right now. Czerwinski is not spelled with a Z.
Yes, it is.
What?
C's and cat, Z's and zebra.
Well, yeah, C first, though.
Yeah, C first, then Z. Yep.
CZ.
Yes.
How many times I was on the radio with you, people be like, the guy with the Z. I'm like, it starts with a C.
Yes, it does.
Yes. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yep.
The first thing right out of the gate, I was thinking about this. We worked together many years. Danny works for Withers Broadcasting, works for WQRL. He's done that a long time. He's worked for WMIX. Has all your broadcasting been under the Withers umbrella?
No, my first 2 years out, 02, 03, and 03, 04, Jimmy Dean came in and asked me in the summer of 02, hey, come down and help me out with Marion football and basketball. And I said, all right. I said, we had done 2 broadcasts before, randomly at the Sesser Holiday Tournament about 3 or 4 years before that. Never had put a headset back on till then. Worked with Jimmy for a couple years, 02, 03, 03, 04, doing Marion stuff. The summer of 04, Clark Lance gives me a call, says, hey, we got an opening with Jim Muir. Come interview for the color commentator job. He goes, we can get you. Okay. So I go up there and I interview with Jim. We do a fake run through for the show. I got it and been at Withers Communication or Withers Broadcasting and Dana Communications now for 22 years. This is year 24 total in radio.
What I don't know if I've ever even asked you this before, knowing you obviously a long time. What made you want to get into this?
I have no idea. I mean, people ask that
I love it.
My day job's teaching. So I'm like, okay, I was going to basketball games anyway. I mean, high school basketball sports have been the thing, especially basketball. I'd go to anywhere between 150, 200 games a year before doing radio anyway. So I was going all the time anyway, going to games, pay to get in, get tickets. This was back in the day before
this is just anybody, your free way to get in.
Right. This is a free way to get in and get paid to talk. Okay? So before that, it was like, okay, people probably don't remember this, but in 2-class system, it was a bear to get sectional tickets at Sparta, Nashville, Pinckneyville. You had to know somebody. Yes. And then it was a bear to get tickets at Massac, El Dorado, and on the other side when it was split in 2. So it was always regionals. You could usually get in. Sectional, you had to know somebody. Of course, the Super at Carbondale and State wasn't a problem. But I'm going to all these games, different levels, Benton included. I grew up listening to Benton. Waltonville guy listened to Benton, go figure. But it's just always been there. And now the ability to not be good enough to play sports past a certain level, and then you want to be involved in sports, this is the opportunity to do it.
You've been involved with so many different teams. I mean, I was it's probably about last year about this time I was listening to old broadcasts from Mount Vernon game.
You had to be really needing something to do. Listen to this.
I was digging a lot, and just talk about just all the different experiences you've had, and just how different it is at each level of basketball.
Well, you mentioned that because I was in the first 2 years of Kerry Martin at Marion football with Jimmy Dean. So that goes back a while when Kerry first left Carterville and went to Marion. So then I go to Benton, and that was the end of the Jeff Roper years into the Clodfelder years. I go to Mount Vernon, and now I've got Jared Shane. Dan Mings leaves Mount Vernon at that point, and I'm following in with Jared Shaner and those other guys. And then when I came back to Benton, it was Bob Pankey, now to Justin Groves. So I've seen all that. Football was kind of like the running joke for me because to have a winning season for me, I was kind of like the black cat of football for a while. And now with Coach Groves, I'm broke that trend now. Now it's like, okay, we're winning seasons. Basketball was pretty cool at Mount Vernon because when I left Benton to go to Mount Vernon, that gave me the opportunity to do a lot of the Woodlawn games and the Woodlawn runs from 08 to 20. And then that stretch from when I first got up to Mount Vernon, 11 and 12, that was the year Woodlawn won the state championship. So I actually got to do majority of their games all the way to the state title run. So I got to do that one. Woodlawn girls had a sectional final in softball I got to do. They had a super sectional girls basketball I got to do. Weber goes to baseball. We did those 2 games. We did Mount Vernon, the state tournament baseball, 2 games. So I've been spoiled. And then, of course, I get back and Benton goes to the state tournament first time in 32 years. So it's been a dream to not only do Woodlawn where I work to see those kids grow up and then achieve what they did at Peoria. Then as a Waltonville guy listening to Benton games all those years, Q106, Mike Mitchell, the whole ball wax, now sitting there doing Benton games, Benton sports. It's kind of been like a dream come true doing radio and getting paid to do radio. It feels like I'm stealing at times.
I feel like you're stealing. Danny, let me ask you this. You've done so many games. You've been involved in so many broadcasts. I was thinking about this today when I knew we were going to be doing the interview and stuff. What was the broadcast called that I used to do with you? Was it Midland Trail games or
this
something?
Was the showcase.
The showcase games.
Showcase.
Are those still a thing?
The showcase is still going on. Yeah, okay. Chris Hugo and I started that in 2008, I believe. That was the year because we're like, okay, we can get what was the W's: Woodlawn, Waltonville, Weber, and Wayne City. And then we threw Sesser Valier in it because I said, hey, we need to get them involved because Sesser and Woodlawn were kind of neck and neck those years.
Yes.
The girls' programs are really good under Coach Metcalf and beyond. So it was like, okay, we need to get those games in. That's a way to do that. We can't get all their games in, but we would pick the games. Like if Waltonville, Woodlawn, Weber, Sesser, Wayne City played each other, boys or girls, we were trying to have them on. And the blessing is we have an AM station in Mount Vernon and an FM station. So you have priorities. Rams would take priority on FM. Everything else goes AM. If the Lady Rams are on, they go to AM. Then you do the showcase on FM. You try to do it based on where your coverage, your towers are, for non-radio people, where the signal can go. So that was where we started in 08 and is still going today. To be a part of that, to begin that 18 years ago and to know it's still going on and still doing those teams and those games on both sides in basketball is a pretty cool thing.
I was going to say this when we had Coach Garner on, Shane Garner, right before you. This is the part that I love about this, and trying to teach this stuff to Russ, because Russ is a super smart. He's organized. He's doing awesome at SIU. I mean, the stuff he does with Ballin4God, people think he's a 35-year-old guy that's been in this business forever, and I tell him he's 18. But the part that he hasn't seen as much, he's grown up in Benton. He's seen a part of this, but you coming from Waltonville, teaching in Woodlawn, me having family in smaller towns other than Benton, sports drive these communities. I mean, the first time you probably ever put a broadcast of a Midland Trail Conference game on, I bet people were crying because it was a big deal for them finally to get exposure.
Well, in the smaller schools, I think cherish it more or respect it more because they don't have it all the time. Like, no disrespect, but Mount Vernon, Nashville, Carbondale, Heron, Marion, they always have radio. Murfreesboro, always have radio. They're always going to be there. Somebody's going to be there. You go through, and at the beginning of that, where you're doing Waltonville Woodlawn the third Friday in December, which has been set for every year, and it's going to be really big this December. Everybody look forward to that.
Hatfields and
Hey, and you can listen to it, and that was on terrestrial radio. Now you throw in the World Wide Web.
Sure.
And anybody anywhere can listen, or if you have video streaming like the Rams do, you can watch it. So now anybody anywhere in the world can listen and watch. So that kind of, you put the headset on, you think, okay, I'm doing, Benton people are listening. It's worldwide.
Sure.
That's the crazy part for me, because when we started,
Yeah.
it was where the signal went.
Sure. Yeah.
Now it's worldwide every time we click on and go.
Hot mic.
It's hot mic every time.
Yeah.
You don't know who's listening.
Darren, he runs the Facebook Lives every Friday night during football season. He's got Chad Perry coming on from Florida watching. It's just wild how much it's expanded. And you mentioned about Waltonville, Woodlawn, and all those small schools getting coverage. I mean, I was at the Woodlawn Waltonville game last year, and WMIX was there, and I just like it that because I don't know, I like listening to the radio a lot. Whenever I leave a game, I usually turn on a game. Specifically during football season, I get to turn on South 7 games because, they're still going.
There for a while, Benton was always the last game in football. And there for a while, Benton was always the last. Everybody would say, how can you guys always be the last basketball game on the radio? Well, because we don't know. It was just the way it was. Football, how come you guys are on the radio last? That's the style of play they play. Sure. Now, Marion and Centralia become the perfectionists to go 3.5, 4 hours. Benton's been done for 30 minutes. Get in, click on the radio, and here we go. But that's all about style of play and who's doing what where. That's how the games have changed.
I've noticed this much, Danny, all the years of broadcasting, and obviously you've been with Withers Communications, Broadcasting for a long, long, long time. We work together, doing broadcasts together, doing the fifth quarter together, different Saturday morning talking sports, a lot of fun. How much, two-part question, how much has radio changed, and how thankful are you that Withers in this new era still sticks with local radio?
How much radio has changed? Somebody asked me this before, and it's a good question because, like, when I started, if you want, now this will blow Russell's mind, some of our listeners. If you wanted to hear what some other game was doing, you had two choices. One, on a break, you could talk back to the station and go, hey, board op / executive producer, can you call this station number? I've given you a list of numbers to call. Yeah. Can you call those and on the next break tell me updates? Or there were many a times in the first few years at both Marion and Benton, I'm doing the game, there's a microphone here, I've got an earbud to my ear, and I'm flipping through on the radio, on my transistor radio, trying to listen to updates as I'm keeping stats, listening, multitasking. Now, that to me is the biggest change because then it evolved into texting, then it's evolved into social media. So, I mean, that to me has been the biggest change as far as radio goes. Now, the second part of your question, I blew through the first part, so now remind me of the second part of your question.
How thankful are you that Withers is stuck with, because a lot of people have fallen out of this business.
Yes, a lot of teams don't have coverage that used to have it. I mean, and it could change at any moment, any year, something could change, something to drop. I still believe that radio, I will always tell this, radio travels. Because if you just go and do the radio side, you can go to every game no matter where it's at. You don't have to worry about restriction here, this here, whatever. You can go, radio will travel. And there are people that will still click on the radio, hit the app, get in the car, put the headsets on. They're doing something somewhere in the house, whatever. They don't want to go out that night. It's raining, it's cold, it's going to snow. You're there. Radio's so important. I'm thankful that Withers Broadcasting and Danny Communications are still a juggernaut, not only just doing boy sports, but as far as Mount Vernon and Benton, Centralia, Nashville, we're doing a gluttony of girls' games both fall, spring, and winter.
I don't think these kids realize, Russ growing up in Benton, my boys growing up in Benton, they've just been around it. Mm-hmm. They're just around it all the time. I'm like, you're in a school of 600. This isn't everywhere that gets this ability to have I know all the boys and girls games you did. Obviously, we both worked with Jim Muir. Jim Muir used to do a trillion games. I mean, Jim, talk a little bit about the relationship you had with Jim all these years.
He had me come on and then work the 7 years. Then I wanted to go learn more on the other side up at Mount Vernon, do play-by-play, get used to running things, get used to the other side of the operation with Chris, get involved in the showcase a whole lot more because that was right in that particular time frame, 11, 12, Woodlawn had already been to state tournament in 9, super in 10, gotten third, and I'd done all those games, whether at WMIX or Benton, and then the state title in 12, and then they start going to the sectionals and the Sesser and Woodlawn rivalry and regional and sectional finals and stuff like that. It was starting to go, so I got a good baptism there. And then when he left to take his current job as county clerk, the opening comes up. Now I can come back to Benton and do the play-by-play there. If I don't leave and go get that experience at Mount Vernon to understand play-by-play, how to run the board, how to run the equipment, how to set things up, get ready to go, whatever. The one thing he taught me that I think sometimes is missed out on is preparing or calling a school and saying, hey, I know we're coming, but we're still coming. There will be two of us. So just letting you know we're coming. Or you're going somewhere new to let people know you are coming to do the game. And I think that's an important thing in this day and age with all the various entities that are now around to let people know that you're coming to show up and do those games.
I was very thankful for the years we all worked together. But one of the big things I take from both you and Jim, and if people just tuning in, Jim Muir, we both worked with for a long time. You guys are both 72,000 times more organized than me. I'm a gunslinger. People know that. These guys, I'll just tell on myself real fast. I'll still wake up in a cold sweat thinking, oh, God, what did I forget for a broadcast? Did I forget the head? I mean, you guys had everything down to a T, and I'm thinking, did I bring the Marty? Did I bring the Marty?
The Marty. They won't
Sorry,
get that. But, my thing is, you watch and listen to the guys and gals on TV and radio nationally, and you see what they do. I'm always impressed when they show behind the scenes of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, all the stuff that they have written down.
Yes.
A guy that I've worked with now 2 or 3 years have really done the same thing is Lucas Roberts.
Sure, LR.
has as much detail as I do. It's like I've told Darren Kennard, I said, Lucas comes along, Wyatt comes along, they're as prepared as I am, so it makes it easier because if the guy or guys next to me aren't good or better than me, then I can't be at my best if those guys aren't helping me to be the best I can be. Because in the broadcast, it can't be that good.
When speaking on like preparing for the games, at what age did you start to get to that point where you started writing and getting as much detail as you did now?
I would say immediately. I mean, because when I first started marrying, I was looking up marrying past, marrying history, marrying coaches, marrying playoff, marrying games. Then I do an opponent. I still to this day have, and Travis has seen it up in the press box at Tabor Field, I'll have the games for this week, the games for next week, the records of the teams. I'll have a sheet of Benton and who they're playing that week and how many times they played and everything else. I'll have my stat sheets. I'll have my score sheets. I'll have my liner sheet ready to go. I'll have my iPad ready to go. And then if something flies up after I've typed it up, I'll have a notebook full of stuff. And I'll look to my right, and there's Wyatt. He's got all his stuff down because he knows the system Coach Groves has run. He's done that. Lucas, I look over. He's got his trivia question. He's got flip. He made a flip card that you flip on one side, and it flips over to the offense, first, second, and third string. You flip over, and there's this for both teams. The preparation that those guys do goes along with what I do, and it works well. Another one, I kind of call it like passing the torch in pro wrestling, they call it giving it a rub, is Sandler Sloan comes in as much, if not as more prepared than I am when he does games with me because he loves the business. He likes doing it. He wants to do it one of these days. He comes in with his stuff. So everybody's got different things. Sometimes it's the same. Sometimes it's different, but it all comes together as one. If you do your work to get ready, you shouldn't be caught off guard if something goes on during the game.
When I was at SIU, Russ is at SIU now, but when I was at SIU, obviously got to work with Mike Reese. I say Mike's the best I've ever been around. I've never seen someone, but talking about with all the organization that you have, Danny, Mike was unbelievable. I've never seen someone so organized. He knew every detail down to the second, and to the minute. And, he used to always say, Travis, you're a big personality. You love to talk. You have a good time. But he said, when grandma's turning that radio on, she wants the score. She wants the down and the distance and all your other stuff's fun. He said, you like to have fun. You can do any of that stuff you want. But he said, don't ever let them call. This is when I was working down there. Mm-hmm. Don't ever let them call like when I was doing Cardinal games. I don't want to hear when I'm the sports director here. Well, I listened for 23 minutes and I have no clue what the score was. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know if it was second down. I don't know who had the ball. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the game, but realize, especially with radio, you are the eyes and ears for someone, whether they're 6 years old, 80 years old, everywhere in between. And I think that's the beauty of radio. I mean, I love TV. Obviously, this is, broadcast, all of us, they can see that. I always thought that was the cool part of radio.
Well, I think the key is, you know this too, and Russell will know this, you can either in somebody's mind, you can give the score too much, or in somebody's mind, you can give the score not enough. Even though I've said 2nd and 5 Rangers at their own 30, 6-0 Rangers, 12 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Sure.
3rd down happens, 4th down happens, give the score again. Well, somebody's mad because I didn't give the score immediately. What? But the key for me is, Darren and I talk about this a lot, when we work together now too, Ben, before we work together, is format. And that, Lucas White and I always joke on the air about, well, we go out and eat, and that's our meeting, that's our production meeting. That's basically what goes on. We go and we get our order in. We're talking about what we're going to see. What did everybody see? What did you see on film this week? What did you see? Okay, when we come on, I'll intro. We'll talk. Well, Lucas, you can talk the coaching aspect. Wyatt, you've played football, played in this system. You can talk about what it's like going into playing at Murphy or playing in Nashville, what Coach Groves and the staff are thinking. I got to have a format ready to go. I'm not saying I'm going to read it word for word on my paper. I know what my intro is. I know what I'm going to do. But as long as we have a format where we talk and discuss before we get there, whether it's the football guys, whether it's whoever's working with me in basketball, I've got to have a plan in my head to go with before I get on that air and start kicking on however many watts or on whatever radio I'm on.
Just looking back, you just mentioned that, and having Wyatt and all them just be alongside you helping and being able to share the different parts and all that. But what's it mean to have a little guy like, well, he's not a little guy now, he's 8th grade now.
Yeah.
Sandler, just how inspiring is that to have him alongside, take him upstate and all that?
Well, in that story there, the people next to me, I got to have people. I kind of like Brad Sham of the Dallas Cowboys. I just want to give you the basics because I want Babe Laufenberg to give all the jargon. Okay, so that's why White is there doing the football stuff, and Lucas is there from the coaching aspect, or Wes Schode, or Wade Thomas, or whatever. Sandler comes rolling in COVID, and I had seen his videos on social media where he's calling races in his basement, or he's watching TV calling races. And I asked Andy and Station, I said, is this something he wants to do? I said, you don't let every kid jump on the radio on the headset. And they said, yeah, it's something he really wants to do. Okay, well, it starts out COVID. I think Tater Bumgart was the first one I had come on.
Yeah.
Tater gets old enough, and then Sandler there, and I just threw it out to him one night. Hey, you want to come on for a quarter? Okay. So he's right there with me, and Schultz throws the headset on. He's yammering like he had prepared for whatever. So then I said, hey, just stay on for another quarter. Stay on for the rest of the half. So then I'm kind of getting his experience. I'm like, this is a kid that's locked in. This is something he's serious about, even as a 6th grader. So we go and we make the run, and Benton's making the run 24, and I'm having him on here and there and stuff, and I have him do a game. Last year I had him do a bunch of games. This year he's going to do a bunch of games, the way it works out. So he's sitting there, and I'm like, he comes up on the sectional, talks. He's coming on during a halftime of the Super. So it hits me, and I'm like, okay, if Benton wins Monday night against T-Town at Monday night, I said, I'm gonna have him come on state. So Benton wins. We've got 2 press passes already from the IHSA. So I call Matt Troha, the IHSA, said, hey, I need a favor. I said, if it can't be done, fine. I get it. And I told him what was going on, and Matt Trohan, the IHSA, was like, hey, we'll make it happen. He will have a press pass with his name, and he will have a packet. So he will have a thing. So we get to Champaign I guess it would be Thursday now. We get up there, and so I go in, and I get in there, and I go talk. I see Matt, and I said, hey, is it good? And he goes, you're good to go. It's just like I told you the other day. Okay. So I could see Sandler. I told Station Andy, let me know when he gets there. So he's sitting up top where the Benton fans were, coaches' wives and stuff. And I go, hey, I said, how are your seats? He goes, man, they're great. I said, you're not sitting here. And he looks at me, and I said, you need to come with me. And he goes, well, why would I come with you? I said, you just need to come with me. This kid's in 6th grade. Sure. He's done a few games. And my goal to get him there was to get him that experience. Had he not been on the air before then, probably not doing this.
Sure.
But to give him the opportunity to gain the experience, to be on the air, I'm not doing that for everybody, but to get him down there, this is your packet, and he opens it up, he puts the pass on, he runs through the whole ball, wax those 2 days, he's on air, we got a 4-man crew, and again, 2-man crew's hard, 3 and 4, it works. We were 3. Shuffling, 3 is hard to do. Yeah. I mean, White, Lucas, and I I think we're pretty good at 3-man crew, what we do, but to give Sandler the opportunity, to give that rub, to give the opportunity to a kid who may one day be somewhere on TV, on national radio, maybe doing something local, who knows, to give him that opportunity. That's the goal, because I'm getting on the end, towards the end. I'm closer to the end I am at the beginning. Why not give an opportunity to a youngster to let him run?
Yeah. I've lived it. I understand.
Sandler's going to have a lot of games to do this year. He doesn't know this yet, but I think he knows, but he's going to know it.
Last but not least, I know you got to get going. We appreciate you coming on. Danny, you how many years back is the play-by-play for Benton now? Is this 8?
Oh, gosh, let's see. 2 at Marion, 7 with Jim, 6 at Mount Vernon. So this would be 9. This is 9 years back, so I've done actually 16 years at Benton. Wow. Benton's been my longest stay.
Basketball starting
next Tuesday.
This will come out here, yeah. So in less than a week, after this podcast comes out, less than a week, basketball starts. Thoughts on the Rangers?
It never gets old going in Rich Aaron Gym. There's something. Special place. It's a special place. To me, growing up, listening to games, seeing Benton in '82 on the TV and '84 on the TV. Listen to games as a kid because why go anywhere? I got entertainment Friday night. You could go through the dial. Russell's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
What?
Yeah,
the dial.
The dial. You could go through and go Mount Vernon,
yeah,
Centralia, DuQuoin, Frankfurt.
Sure.
And you talking about Merrick, Faisal, Strothman,
Hall of Famers.
Carbondale. I can't. Gosh, who was the guy from Carbondale? I can see him. Did Carbondale games?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Merrick.
Did do coin.
No.
Carbondale, I'll go through it while we think about it. Bomeyer, Roger Medlin at Carbondale. Then you go through and you get Bomeyer at Nashville, who to me is probably one of the best, if not the best locally to do it, because you knew he wanted Nashville to win, him and Beefcake, but it wasn't over the line.
No.
And then you go through and you get Mike Mitchell. I mean, that's what I did as a kid. I went through and I'm thinking, well, Benton was on TV. It's something about the uniforms. It's something about Rich Herron. Then you read back and see all the history as a kid, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you listen to the Centray tournament, and you get mad at Homewood Flossmoor those 2 years because Dick Seidel and the Vikings used to always get Benton in that second day at Centray and send them home. Oh, yeah. I mean, it always seemed like that. Yes. And then JoJo and come through. But there's a magic with doing Benton games. Now, as far as this year's go, I think this year's group of Rangers, this is the group that's got to say, I don't care what the last 2 years did. That was fun. That was great. We had an awesome time. This is our year to prove ourselves.
Yes.
And I think that's where this Benton crew is. There's probably more questions than answers. A ton of talent has went through the last 2 years graduating. It is what it is, but there's enough talent coming back this year, whether it's old talent, young talent, that – you know, as the year goes along, this group has potential to be very good.
I agree. 1,000%.
I definitely agree. I think that it's a very open for a 2A team to prove themselves this year. I mean, there's been a lot of movement, a lot of graduations. I think this Benton team could prove themselves to be one of those top 2A teams again in the area.
I think the key here is the last 2 or 3 years, Benton's kind of had a bullseye. I think this year Benton kind of heads back into the shadows a little bit. They don't have the target. They don't have the pressure, the expectations that people like us see them as a lot of talent lost the last 2 years graduation-wise, so they can kind of slip back up on people, I think. And I know Schaefer's back and Wiggs is back and Porter's back and the whole crew, but they can still kind of slip in on people, I think, because I think people don't know what to expect out of them.
It'll be interesting for me to see who takes that next step, not having number 41 on the floor. Because having a son that played with him will tell you it's a great problem to have that guy who's the best shooter, best player, 99.9% of the games we play in, we got the dude for the last 4 years. Mm-hmm.
Well, the defense
2 years ago, you got Billington and Munoz and Melvin, and I mean, we were completely loaded.
Well, and then your whole premise and setup, and I've not asked any coaches. I've not know anything. I've not seen them yet to practice. I'm going later this week. But you have your defense and offense set up. Docker's the back door on the defense. He's the last man standing. The offense is rotated around Docker, especially last year. Not saying they have to blow everything up, but you've got to make adjustments because you got a whole different team going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the way it is. There's a guy going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this not being live. You're used to live.
I'm used to live.
We can cut
you
this.
Can cut
and
that
you can answer
out.
that. And you can answer that question. They'll never know.
Coming in, I know that guy. Yes. He still got to autograph his book for me. I haven't been able to catch him yet. That's the problem.
Man, look how dressed up this guy is. Man, these guys.
Hey, you know what this looks called? This is called retirement.
Oh.
That's right. See the smile.
How many more years you got left?
I have, counting this year, 4.
4 years left.
Yeah. The letter is turned in, and he knows how this feels. When the letter gets turned in, you become a freshman again. So I'm in my freshman year right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, don't ask me, because I was asking about 25 more questions. I'm going to hit him with one.
Go ahead. See what you got.
Your greatest pro wrestler of all time. Hit it.
Oh, that's a good one.
I know how much.
What are you talking about? What is your rating scale?
Who's your favorite?
Of all time?
All time.
Probably Bret Hart or Steve Austin.
Okay. Why?
But
why?
Well, Austin because of what he did and what time he had to do it. Bret was more of a technical wrestler, best technical wrestler I can remember. As far as what's going on right now, you got to almost think putting John Cena up there too. I mean, that dude, I'm sorry. What they've been able to do in the last year with him as he's going out the door, he's pretty special. Mic work is amazing.
How many pro wrestling events have you been to in your life?
I don't know.
How many? Throw a number out there. 20,
30 or 40.
30 or 40?
50, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
WrestleMania?
I have not done a Mania. I've done a Rumble, but I have not done a Mania.
Done a Rumble, not
I've done an elimination chamber and a rumble. I have not done Mania. Yep. I've done No Mercy. I've done several pay-per-views.
Oh,
I've done a couple of the ones in the other company, but yeah,
those ones where there's like cash in a briefcase or something.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I've been that. Yep. I've seen some of the dandies. Let me tell you. I've seen some real good ones, and I've seen some real clunker shows.
Will you ever make the trip to WrestleMania?
I don't know. It depends. If it gets to Indy, it's in shot. I'm not big on going. I mean, like right now with TKO taking over. Last night, MSG $180 a ticket without tax. Nah, I'll pass. I got Netflix. I'll sit home and watch it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Danny, it's been a lot of fun, man.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having me
you
on.
coming
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
All right. That's Danny Czerwinski. He is the voice of the Benton Rangers on WQRL, part of Withers Broadcasting, Danny Communications, longtime voice. Hope to see him a lot longer doing Ranger sports.
All right, now we're on to our final interview of today's show, and it's a good one. You know, it's a longtime teacher who just retired. It's a longtime player, longtime coach, Coach Wynn, Matt Wynn, whatever you want to call him. Most people know him as Mr. Wynn. Just introduce yourself and talk about what it's like to be retired now.
Yeah, so Matt Wynn, like I said, I taught for 33 years. My first year was in Marietta, Georgia. I know we were.
Wasn't expecting that one, Coach. I forgot.
Trudy and I went to the city and decided to come back, and then I spent 3 years at Meridian High School, 6 years at Benton Junior High, and then 23 years at high school. My dad was a teacher. My dad was a biology teacher. He's my teacher. And really, that's probably one of the reasons why I got into teaching, is because I had good teachers and good coaches, and the people in my life that were important to me were in that position. So I had to choose a major when I was a sophomore in college, and it was time to do that. I got all my general classes out of the way, and that's what I went with. I thought teaching and coaching, and I'm very glad that I did. It was I love being around the kids. I'm retired now, but I miss the kids, and I miss the teachers I taught with, and I love teaching at Benton High School. I'm a Ranger, you know, and we went away for a while, but came back, and glad that we did, and so, yeah.
I'm going to hit you with this.
Okay.
I'm 9 years after you, but growing up in Benton, obviously people know my family. I mean, I bleed maroon like you, man. I don't know nothing against any of these other towns.
Yeah.
We have guys on from everywhere.
Sure.
And you know, Panther people, they're Columbia blue, you know, and you can pick the town. Heron Tigers, orange, and whatever, you know. Frankfurt Redbirds, red, but that maroon to me means more than anything. It always will. I mean,
Sure.
I always tell people, you were lucky enough to play at SIU, which was still maroon, but you know, talk about the story. We had Shane Garner on first this week and talking about being a Red Devil and what that meant to him. But talk about what it meant growing up. Your dad, obviously Mac Wynn, people knew him, longtime biology teacher at Benton High School. Your mom, Juva Wynn, was the Franklin County treasurer, has a building that I go to for a meeting every month named after your mother. People know your family. Talk about what it meant just growing up in little bitty Benton, Illinois, in the middle of nowhere, but such a strong community, and it means everything to you, it means everything to me.
Sure. Well, I would say me and you had pretty similar childhoods. I mean, I think you're blessed when you look back and you go, man, I really had a good childhood. Yes. And I had two good parents to start with, just like you. And I was fortunate that my dad was a school teacher, so that was my in to get into the high school. And, you know, Travis, I can remember times where we had a snow day or something, and my dad would say, hey, you know, we don't have school. I'm going to go up and do some work in my classroom. Do you want to go up to the school with me? And for me, that meant going to the gym and shooting all day and just being around the Rangers. And so my dad, my earliest memories of the basketball Rangers were I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and my dad worked the pass gate, and I can remember like going to the BIT, and you know we had to be there 5 o'clock because my dad worked the gate, and those nights you weren't getting home until 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And I was the type of kid that watched the game. Like I love the game, and some kids play the game and they're good at it and they play for a while, but I was truly in love with the game. And I didn't have any brothers and sisters, and basketball's like a really creative game, and it's one of the only games you can go out, take your ball, be by yourself, and get better. And my mom and dad, my dad was a hunter and a fisherman, and they supported me in my interests. I think my dad tried to steer me in that direction, but when he found out that I loved athletics, they both jumped on board and went to all my games. And I just, growing up in Benton, there were so many people in the community that just were just good, solid people. And it was just a great place to grow up. It was just like small town Americana, It was just a super place to grow up. I have nothing but good memories. I was fortunate enough to have good friends, and later became my teammates. And it was just a great experience. And, when you're a kid and you grow up around that, my aspiration, I wanted to become a Benton Ranger. I wanted to wear that uniform. I wanted to run out of that tunnel. I wanted to be one of those players one day. And if you look at it, that just became a cycle in our town.
Yes.
And I think the success of the basketball team bled over into other areas of our town, and didn't have to be an athlete, but people took pride in our town, and I think they still do.
Sure.
I think kids today, we talk about this time period, but Russell, you're right out of school. You had a good experience, and we have a good school. There's things going on, and I don't want to be one of those guys to say, in the old days.
The 80s were the best times.
Yeah, right. But they were very special times, and but hey, I love what we're doing with what Coach is doing with the program now. We're having success now. It's a different time. We have kids that still want to play, and again, just a great place to grow up.
Coach, you've been around all these different eras, and I'm just going to throw this out at you. I'm 9 years after you. You went through in the 80s, obviously graduated in 87. Then you go on to SIU. You play high school basketball for Ron Herron, which obviously Rich's brother. And then you go to SIU and you play for Rich.
Yeah.
You get out of college, you end up getting into teaching and coaching. But one of the big things that stands out to me is you said this on the phone to me last night when I called you, what it meant to kids. It was one of the coolest things you've ever said to me about this. There were kids that didn't play basketball at Benton, but the success we had in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s that's carried on to now, that wanted to be a pharmacist, wanted to be whatever job they were because of what they saw in Benton Ranger basketball.
Right. So when I was doing the book, one of my best friends growing up didn't play basketball. His name was Michael Yarberry. And after high school, he went to the St. Louis College of Pharmacy. And that's actually why I said pharmacy, because in our conversation, I was talking to him when I was doing the book, and he said, we have an alumnus of the year right now. It's on the wall.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of really successful people that have come from Benton High School that weren't athletes.
Yes.
And, in his case, he told me the story of, he's 18 years old. He moves to St. Louis. He's away from home for the first time. He looks around the class, and he's got all these kids that graduated from big-time high schools with a lot of enrollment, with a lot of education. And he told me, he said, you know, I went to the games, I didn't play. But seeing the basketball team gave me a confidence in that arena of academics that, you know what, so what, I'm from Benton. I can do this. And, you know, I think that a lot of people don't realize that, you know. Success of anything breeds success somewhere else. And, you know, I think there's just a lot of, you know, that's a neat thing. And when I was doing the book, I was like you. I'm like, oh, man, I've never heard that before. That's really neat. So, yeah, that was something that was exciting for me to hear because I hadn't heard that before, and I think that's true.
Russell, I overstepped my bounds. You get 3 straight questions.
Speaking of the book, you got to hear a lot of stories like that, like what you just mentioned. Just saying, talk about what it meant to you to go back and talk to people like, I can't remember if Doug Collins' quote was in there, but there was just a bunch of quotes from a bunch of different legends that Benton. What did it mean to you, and what did you learn about Benton basketball?
Yeah, well, okay.
Did you bring the book with you?
I have one in the car. Yeah, I have one in the car, and that's a good question. So I'm a history buff, and like I'm watching the American Revolution, Ken Burns documentary right now. But when I was playing, I don't know why, and some kids do this, some kids don't. It's okay. But I always wanted to look at the pictures on the wall, you know. And before I even did the book, I could hear a name and I knew a face because of a picture. But to be able to talk to those guys that played for Coach Aaron was one of the greatest blessings I got from doing the book, because most of those guys were very much before me, and they had moved away. So I didn't have contact with them until I did the book, and then that brought us together. And then we had this commonality of Coach Aaron. You know, we could both speak. It was like we were kind of in the same club because we played for him. And, you know, that was incredible to be able to talk to Jim Adkins, who goes to the University of Alabama with Coach Aaron in a plane and gets interviewed, and they take him by to meet Bear Bryant.
Wow.
Because Bear Bryant's a football coach and he's the athletic director too, so they used to take the basketball guys to meet Bear Bryant. And those are things that the stories were priceless. One thing I did learn that I think needs to be said is we're talking about how success trickles down, interest trickles down from one generation to another. Coach Aaron's first year at Benton, there is a banner in the gym that means a lot to me, and I learned a lot. My dad graduated in 1962. But
Rich's first year was
60-61.
Right.
So my dad would have been a junior. He did not play basketball, but these were his friends. So when I was able to interview his friends, hey, what's your dad doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
That was really neat. But I'll say this. That banner reads 17 and 13. Look at all the other banners. 31-1, 30-1, 20. Great records, right? And you look at that one banner, Elite 8, 17 and 13. What happened there? That team got hot. They did not, his first year they were 12 and 13 going into the regional, and they won the regional, won the sectional. They move on to the super sectional, and they play Belleville. And now I don't know if it was Belleville West or East, but it was Belleville High School. It was one-class basketball. A lot of the people from Belleville did not buy tickets because they thought it was kind of a waste of time. They were just going to go to the state tournament. They literally kind of took us for granted. So that game was played at Max Morris Gymnasium, and that game was you guys have all been to Frankfurt. The majority of that gym was Benton fans because Belleville just elected to kind of stay home. And in the first quarter, the clock went out. So they literally had a stopwatch, and they used a flipboard to keep score for the rest of the super sectional in 61. Now, when I interviewed Coach Heron about that team, he said, I've never had a team play. That's the best I ever had a team play. It was almost like a perfect night. They hit every shot. They were not supposed to win. Belleville was very, very good. They just hit every shot. They milked the clock late. They hit their free throws. They did what you had to do. There's a great picture in the book. I'd never seen it in the yearbook, but they're in the underbelly of Max Morris in the locker room, and they're all in there like this. They started 5 juniors. There were no seniors on that team. Mark Kern was a senior. Glenn Miller was. There were 3 seniors on the team, but they came off the bench. And that game right there, Bobby Orchid was on that team. He wore number 20. That's why Doug Collins wore number 20.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Tom Whittington was my 7th grade coach. Mm-hmm. Tom Whittington, he's one of the best coaches I ever had.
And gave me swats in 8th grade.
Oh, he could swing a paddle. There's no doubt.
Unbelievable.
There's no doubt about it. But Tom was on that team. He played inside. Wiley Hall was the point guard on that team. He went to Rice. And Younkus will tell you, hey, I was in such and such a grade. When I got hooked on basketball, I was listening to the radio, the 61 team. The 61 team at 17 and 13.
It's the catalyst for all this.
Yes. It created that kind of interest, and then it kind of snowballed.
We're not here right now with that team, but I mean, honestly.
I thought so. I thought so. When I did the book, I thought, man, that's just so neat how it created so much interest, and kids just wanted to play, and then all of a sudden you see kids outside bouncing the ball, playing, and it's just very neat.
Just say this real quick for us, Matt. We don't have the book in front of us right now.
Yeah.
What is the name of the book, and where do people find the book?
Okay, it's Rich Heron, a head coach ahead of his time. It's it can be found online. You can kind of, if you type in Rich Heron, it'll come up. It was at Barnes & Noble in Carbondale, but, I do have, if anybody could get in touch with me.
He has 32,000 copies in the trunk of his car.
I do have copies at home, and if anybody would want one, I'd be happy to give it.
Danny's still waiting for his to be autographed.
Right. So, yeah.
Great stuff in there. It's I don't even think I've fully read through it fully yet. At least I kind of have to pick out parts. And
You were talking to me. How many pages is it? You were
almost 900, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot.
And like I told you last night, Travis, I'm not a writer, but I can't tell you, that's the most fun I've ever had, researching the history, being able to talk to those guys, putting it on paper, and I did it because I had great respect for Coach Heron, and I also thought that period of time needed to be written down. When like you said, you hadn't read the whole thing. I understand. It can be very repetitious because the same thing happens every year.
I mean,
we're
Coach has
winning.
got more pages than the Old Testament.
I know, and it's just it's good. It was just a good project for me, and I did it out of respect for him. I did it as hopefully like a kid that wanted to know the history of the game, that played at Benton, could get their nose in that book and learn more about the players in the past, and when they run out that tunnel, maybe it'll mean a little bit more to them. I just had a lot of fun with it.
It's a big book big book for me. And like I said, I haven't read it all, but there's a lot. And I just love looking at it because, obviously I know the names like you do, but not as well as you do because you got to interview them. But just getting to read those interview clips or just getting to read about it, it's just crazy. And they're people just like us.
Sure. I'll say this, Russell. I'll tell you one thing that didn't want to get away. So Coach died in 2020 around Christmas time. We were at myself and Coach Schertz gave the graveside eulogy. Okay, and so as we were doing the eulogy, we were in a tent. And we had a little bit of cover. Coach's family was in the tent. It was real windy. It was really cold. It was kind of spitting snow. It was just uncomfortable. But when we all got in that tent, when I started to speak and give the eulogy, they had another tent off to the side to the right. And I looked in there. And it was just a very surreal moment for me because I was in the process of writing the book at that time, and there's all those guys. All those guys that I've interviewed. David Hurley, lived in town all his life, pharmacist. He graduated in 72, a good guard. He's in the tent. Jim Szymanski's in the tent. Billy Smith's in the tent. Rich Younkus is in the tent. And I look at that and I'm like, this is what it's all about. Not only did he win, somehow he managed to keep those relationships with his players all his life. And I think that's what was really, in the end, yes, you can look at a lot of numbers, and the numbers tell you that he was a great coach and all that. But in the end, it's those things where you got to get another tent for people when you pass away, because that's what he meant to the players that played for him.
Now, I'm just going to piggyback on this. This is the Ballin4God podcast, talk show, whatever Big Russ is calling us. Ballin4God, it's important to him. It's important in his life.
Sure.
It's important in my life. Obviously, I grew up, my dad's dad was a preacher. I've been around it my whole life. Being around it doesn't mean everything, though. You still have to experience it. And I've heard you talk about this before with FCA and things. But, I mean, the three men in your life, Jesus, your dad, and Rich, Jesus, Mac, and Rich. I mean, you had some awesome men in your life.
I did. And
still do with one of them, right?
That's right. That's right. And, I knew Coach Herron was a Christian by the way he coached us. Now, I didn't think about that.
Is mumbling in the Bible?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh!
and we always used to say this, Travis. We didn't know what he said sometimes, but we knew what he meant.
Yes.
We didn't know. We knew what he meant. But I can say this: I didn't think about that when I was playing for him. Those weren't my thoughts. But when the dust settled and you look back and you think about all the situations we were in, the locker rooms, the tense moments, the losses, the wins, he was always able to, you always knew he had a good moral compass. And I think that came from his mom and dad, his dad was a minister.
His dad was a minister. Yeah.
He was in church all his life. And I think he had a relationship with Jesus. And his way of showing that to us was to come to work every day and show it.
Yes.
And it worked because, I didn't, gosh dang it, that might have been as much as you could get out of him. It might be loud. He could raise his voice. He was very demanding.
Sure.
Without crossing the line. And so you don't realize that maybe until you become an adult and you look back and go, wow, he lived it out through his coaching. So, I mean, and in the end, I think that's why I wrote the book, So.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Me and you talked about this some in class. senior year when I was teacher's age for you, but you were telling me it was a little bit tough to kind of balance being coach and then relationships with your family, and then also just God trying to keep him at the front. But just as an encouragement, what would you say to like those younger coaches that are coaching and trying to keep that balance, all of that?
I think having a relationship with Jesus will keep things in perspective. When you've lost 4 or 5 in a row or 6 in a row, look, there's a lot worse things than that.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard because when you're in that seat and people can be critical and people can be tough. I mean, it's the one job I think everybody thinks they know a little bit about because maybe they played it when they were a kid or whatever. But I would just say, I think your family's so important that they're in your corner on everything. When I was going through coaching, my wife was so good about always kind of being there, and she would.
Is she the most organized person on the planet?
She's very organized. She's probably checking something off a list right now. But she's, you get down or something, and she would say something encouraging. I think Coach Heron had that. I think his family shared Coach Heron with other people very well, because he was very public. A lot of people knew him, and his time. He had a lot of demands on his time, but he was still able to be a good father and a good husband when it was all said and done.
I'll tell you something I noticed just from, obviously, I know how close you were with Coach Heron. I know how close my dad was with Rich Heron. My dad always tells me this, I've been in sales, people say, since I came out of the womb. Being a Severn, it's hard not to be in some type of, you're selling something, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But Coach didn't shy away from the public. Sometimes coaches don't want to go anywhere. He would tell my dad, he looked at an opportunity to ask them if they've been coming to games. Sure. If they were supporting him, and if they weren't, why weren't you? Nowadays guys try to be out of the.
Sure.
Coach Rich Heron did not back away from talking to people. If he saw you in Walmart, if he saw you on the street, if he saw you wherever, that's kind of a lost art. But he never met a stranger.
That's true, and he loved people.
Yes,
he did. He loved people, and he was good at remembering names. Mm-hmm. And think about all the students that he had in driver's education that didn't play basketball for him.
How was he allowed to teach driver's ed?
Well, I'm not sure on
Russ
that.
has never been in a car with him like we have. You've probably been on buses.
Yeah.
I'll never forget him taking my dad and I when he got inducted into the NBC Hall of Fame, and he's driving like this the entire time. He's however old he was.
Right.
I'll never forget seeing Kyle Korver there, and he goes, "Rich Heron." Kyle Korver, obviously a NBA basketball player, but Kyle Korver, because he played at Creighton, and Rich was, obviously at SIU.
Okay. Yeah,
they were both getting inducted in the NBC Hall of Fame the same time.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. I didn't realize that he played at Creighton. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was just funny, and Rich was like, "Oh yeah," Kyle Korver's like, "Rich Heron."
Oh yeah. So he knew. Yeah, he knew a lot of people.
I'm going to ask you one here.
Sure.
I know Russ is probably saying Travis have been talking for 4.5 hours, but the beauty of editing, how you coached, obviously at Meridian, you coached at Benton Junior High, you coached at Benton. Then segue into, you talked about family, how important family was. Rich was a big family guy. All of his kids, obviously we're very close with him. You were close with Rich and Sue and all of his children. How about your own family? Trudy, a lot of people know Trudy Wynn. Obviously, it's your wife. Bailey and Garrig.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, family and the importance to you, getting to watch your children play sports.
Sure. So I have 2 children. Bailey's 30 now, and Garrigg's 26. He just got married a couple weeks ago. And my daughter is a nurse practitioner, and she works in a clinic in Mount Vernon. And Bailey was a softball player. And
Travel softball. And she was just, she was very, just a pleasure to raise for me and her mother, and she was quiet, and we spent a lot of time growing up. I just remember we had to put her in things. She didn't really step out and want to do this, so we had to place her in soccer when she was 5 years old, or we had to, and then she would do fine. But I'm very proud of her. I've got 2 grandchildren. Our son-in-law is Adam Johnson, and Adam is, and they're great, and they live in town. And fortunately, we get to see Sterling and Kai, the grandkids, a lot. Tomorrow's our day. We get to watch them. So just very proud of her. And my son is 26. He's the head of the HR. He's got a new position now at his work. He works for a company called Dayton Freight, and they pack product. They don't work on Saturday and Sunday, but it's a Midwestern company. And he worked there while he was going to school, but then got his degree in business, and he's been able to kind of climb the ladder. I'm very proud of him. Gary played on 2 really good teams. Yes.
He was very fortunate. When we talk about basketball, his 7th grade year and his 8th grade year, he played in 2 state championships in junior high. And, that gave those kids an experience that I think carried over into their high school years. And then, his junior year, we were really good, but we were, I guess, 3A.
Yes.
And we had to play Centralia in the sectional championship at our place.
I'll never forget the kid who went nuts and made all the threes.
Yeah, Javon, and we saw him in 8th grade, and they just beat us. And then I think we were 31-3.
31-3.
And then the next year we graduated some really good talent there with Derek and Austin and Timmy, and they were gone. And that team really, I thought, we had some really good wins. We beat Pinckneyville and the Duster Thomas and won the Duster Thomas.
Brought back some good guys, too.
Brought back some, yeah. And the thing, I, as a parent, and Travis, you know this because you went through it. As a parent, I really loved the opportunity to watch my son play.
Priceless.
It was priceless, and you know how that is. And one thing I really tried my best not to do, it was, I was probably harder on him. Like, I didn't want to. I didn't want to look through. I didn't want to be his parent. I wanted to look at it from a, from a coach's standpoint, right? And sometimes that's hard to do. I was proud of the way he competed. I always thought he competed with a little chip on his shoulder, and
where did he get that defense from? Because
I didn't.
It wasn't that.
It wasn't
Matt's
that.
one of the greatest shooters to go through Benton, but Matt Wynn was not a defender. Garrett Wynn was an unbelievable defender.
Yeah, we were 2 different players. He was just I loved.
He was a pest.
He was
the
a pest.
The other team's point guard hated him.
He was a pest, and he had a good career, and he was able to play a little golf, and he was able to play basketball and baseball, and then Trudy is.
What got her into? I know she's in Country Financial now, but she was not in that insurance world in the beginning, was she?
No. So I'm glad you brought that up. So she's done really 3 or 4 different things. You get into teaching and you think you're going to teach all your life.
Yeah.
And retire, and fortunately that's what I did. But she did 3 or 4 different things. She was an accountant, but she's a hustler and she works so hard. And she's done such a good job of being a good mother to our kids, and I'm just blessed to have her and be able to go through life with her, and being able to raise our kids here in Benton, which, moving back from Marietta when we did not have kids, and being in Anna for a while, and coming home is okay. Like coming home, you always think the grass is greener sometimes at someplace else, but man, I wanted my kids to have the kind of childhood I had.
For sure.
Right.
It's worth everything. I agree. Any last thing for Coach?
I will say just Garrick was always one of my favorite players to watch when he was in high school. I know it was about the time that I was really watching. I was when I was in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, and
Playing Future Rangers.
Yep. I got to go watch him after a Future Rangers game or something, or the night before we played a Future Rangers game. He was always fun to watch. He was probably it was him and Derek were my two favorites on the 2016-17 team, and then Garrick was my favorite, and then Parker was my second favorite.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Parker became
Williams, for those that don't.
Parker Williams, yeah. He became such a good post player for a kid that was only 6'2".
He had a great shot too.
He had just big paws. He could catch anything, and he was a good shooter. And he had a really nice career too.
Even though I did not score any varsity points, is it still thought of as the 3 best shooters, just flat out 3-point shooters to go through Benton? Matt Wynn, JoJo Johnson, Travis Severn. Is that still somewhere?
Yeah.
Even
Hey.
We played some pickup basketball together. I'm gonna tell you right now, never go play. He could probably still do it now. We used to play a lot of pickup basketball when I moved back to the area, and God, I hated going to the Aiken gym with you. I swear, he couldn't miss. I mean, he almost shoot a full court shot there. Him and Corey Smith in that gym couldn't miss. Am I lying?
Oh, we had some great games there. We had some fun there, and that was a short court. And
Kenny Summers,
and you played for 2 hours, and the score was like 180 to 160. It was a lot of fun. I'll tell you when you're talking about shooting, I think we talked about it the other day. When I was kind of doing the book, when I was growing up, the people that inspired me.
Who are the shooters of the generations? Can you mind that? Are we allowed to do that?
That's fine.
Go. Yes. Let me know who they.
Okay, so.
Because I don't like defense. Sorry, Ron Weinmiller. God rest your soul, Coach Herron. But defense. Come on, man. Let's score some points.
Sure.
Defense sucks.
Well, so the 3-point line came in 87, 88. I'm going to say.
Was your senior year with the 3?
No, I was 86, 87.
Lord knows you shot him at SIU.
But it helped me, in college,
sure.
Obviously.
Zone buster.
But
that's what they called him.
I'll tell you the best shooter. A lot of the old timers, Keith Tabor could fill
Yes,
it.
my dad. That's my father's class.
Keith Tabor.
They say before the 3-point line,
Incredible
if we had
shooter.
Dave Severn sitting here right now, he would just fawn over talking about Keith Tabor's shot.
Yeah, Keith Tabor could really shoot it, and I heard he had just an unbelievable soft touch. Like, they used to have the old nylon nets, and it would just kind of go in there and just roll around a little bit and fall out. I mean, He just had a beautiful shot. Robbie Hammond Keith Tabor was a little bit before me, so I really don't remember him as much.
That's class of 76, your class of 87. So you're a little kid when they're going through.
I'm a little bit too small in there, but Robbie Hammond, wow. Ooh, he could really fill it up. He was a really, really good shooter. And how about Docker Tedeschi?
Unbelievable. We talked about last night.
Holy cow!
I mean, just seeing him. Yeah, I mean, unbelievable shooter. Rush, I'm sure following Docker the last few years kind of was one of the reasons you got into stuff like this. Getting to watch him play and seeing a guy that good probably motivates a young guy like you to do even stuff like we're doing. Motivated you to do more. Obviously, had a son that got to play with him for more than 4 years.
Sure.
We used to coach him. I had the privilege of coaching Docker Tedeschi in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade travel basketball, and I didn't have to do much. I mean, Trey's class was loaded.
Sure.
And those guys wanted everything, and I still have a picture in my office. I'll never.
I don't know if you know this. Groves told us this. We were the first football class, first group to make the playoffs all 4 years.
All 4 years in football. I have a picture that, and I promise I'll never. I always say I won't ever get emotional on one of these things, but I did get Shane Garner emotional earlier. He probably didn't expect to get that question I asked him, but I keep this picture up because I'm selling cars and I'll have people come up, and I've got this picture of 5th grade. It's Will Zettler, who's my boss at Weeks.
Yeah.
Derek Stowers is a good friend of mine. Derek has a son in high school now, has one in 7th grade, has one in 3rd or 4th grade. Derek and I graduated together in '96.
Sure.
And we coached this team in 5th grade. And in this picture, they're all little bitty farts. You don't know what's going to happen. But you've got the bottom row. Cash Cantrell is a Division I golfer. Grant Owens is now on the golf team at Rend Lake. Kyle Thomas is on the baseball team at Rend Lake. Gabe McClain is running at Gonzaga. This is Benton, Illinois, a school
I know.
All right, this is just my son's class.
Right,
Then
right.
you go over past Kyle is Dr. Tedeschi, who's obviously at Colorado State. The back row, he's my godson. You've got Evan Sanders, who's at Missouri Southern, who leaves Benton when he gets into 7th grade, but has a great career at Johnson City.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you've got Trey, who's at Rend Lake. You've got Jackson Zettler, who's at SIU Edwardsville. And then you've also got Gavin McCann, Ronnie's nephew, shooting the birds.
Right.
And then last but not least, you've got Tiffin Kazukas in the picture, who's right now the starting quarterback at Greenville. That class was good. Russ, you're in that class. That class was good at everything.
Sure.
But I'm just saying this, to watch Docker, it probably motivated you in life.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And it gave me an extra reason to come to the games.
For sure.
But I don't know, just having a guy like him, I always wanted to watch a guy like JoJo Johnson or those guys, Shane Hawkins. And then I got to play.
Hey, that's a Panther. Be careful.
I got to graduate with one, though. I got to graduate at Docker. I got to watch him all 4 years. That was awesome. And I think that's what motivated me to want to do sports media for sure, having such a talented group of seniors like we did.
Sure.
Docker's shot, obviously your shot, Robbie Hammond's, Keith Tabor.
And I'm leaving some guys out.
Oh,
too.
I know you are.
Hey, how about a Curtis Smith mid-range? Wow.
I'm going to throw one at you.
Tim Wills could shoot it.
Tim Wills will be one of our guests here in the future. He actually texted me back last night. And that's when we went to the bullpen and went to you because you were our 12th choice. All kidding aside, we were my dad. He's very, very. You know how it is. Your best friends, Randy House.
Sure.
Was obviously played at SIU with you. So a tremendous run Benton had in the 80s. People might not even know that Randy House went to Benton. Obviously went to SIU, coached national title at Rend Lake Junior College. But here's the name that we haven't brought up yet. But my dad, Dave Severn, if we had him right now, if I got him on the phone, called him, he would say Billy Smith, best athlete ever to go through Benton.
Yeah.
My dad said Billy Smith, literally, they would just ask him to go run a cross-country race, and he was the starting quarterback. He was the starting point guard.
Yeah.
He goes and plays point guard at Georgia Tech, ACC basketball,
right.
Baseball player, track runner. I mean, could do whatever.
He was incredible. And, here a couple things about Billy that I learned from the book.
All-American.
All-American. Billy and Steve Stewart were the only two freshmen to play for Coach Herron as freshmen. Wow. So
Steve Stewart, great shot, right?
Steve Stewart, very good shot. Steve Stewart played with his freshman year was Doug Collins' senior year.
Doug Collins pretty good.
And Doug Collins pretty good. And so, Billy, his sophomore year, I believe he was the second leading scorer.
Wow.
I think his junior year, he was the leading scorer. And here's the great thing about Billy. His senior year, I think he was the third leading scorer. And it wasn't because he couldn't score. He did what he needed to do to help the team win. So his senior year, they had Tabor and Dunbar. Tabor was a sophomore. They were the big three, Billy, Robbie Dunbar, and Keith Tabor. and Tabor and Dunbar were really big-time scorers.
My dad doesn't like to talk about that team, and you're going to tell. I mean, you know why?
Yeah. So
Because a lot of people think if Dunbar doesn't get hurt,
right, that might have been our ticket. Olney beat us, and they stuck. Dunbar hurt his knee late in the year, and we went into the regional, won the regional, limped through the regional, played Olney.
what
And
was our
Olney,
record before Olney beat us?
something and we were undefeated.
We were undefeated.
We were undefeated. So in that game, it's kind of neat. This would have been Ron Heron at Olney. They face each other at Max Morris, and he stuck a triangle and 2 on Billy and Tabor. Tony Phelps was on that team.
Yes. Oh, I'm pretty talking about.
You've heard that, and they beat us. Now Ron Heron was
Coached at Benton. Tony Phelps.
Ron versus Rich, 8-8.
Come on.
They were 8-8.
In heaven,
Doesn't get any better than
who's
that.
winning in heaven, you think? I bet Ron's
They're
up.
battling.
Rich's elbowing him.
Oh yeah, they're battling for sure. So yeah, that's just kind of a neat stat, you know. Yeah.
So they're 8-8 against each other.
They were 8-8, and they eliminated us in the late '70s 2 or 3 times in a row. They had Darnell Jones, and Olney had a really good run there.
And he, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ron was the assistant at SIU with him, right?
Yeah.
Right. He went down there. Ron was my high school coach. He was the best. He was great. I mean,
Good cop, bad cop.
good cop, bad cop. He was a very
Rich was not the good cop.
yeah. He was probably he had a softer side to him than Rich, but he had the confidence to take the Benton job after his brother had won 521 games.
Yeah.
So he steps in and he does it.
Not easy to follow a legend.
It's hard, yeah. And especially when he had built his own program in Olney.
I mean, the gym's named after him.
That's right. It's Ron Heron Gym, just like it's Rich Heron Gym. So he had a great career.
Well, here's my thing. Dr. Young's looking at us, and me and Russ had said, okay, second show, we're going to keep it to an hour. This will probably be a 7-hour show, but it's worth it, Austin. What are we at right now? What do you think?
Probably an hour and a half.
We're doing great. I've got to throw this out there just because, and I got friends all over the place. My wife said, no, you don't really have any friends, but I mean, people that know me in a lot of other towns, sports, and I'm a Ranger. And I got buddies, their kids played all these different schools because Trey played all these years of travel baseball. He's got buddies all over the place. Brody's played all these years of things, you know, in all these other towns. But I'm a Ranger through and through. So this show will be very special to me 20 years from now, the one we're doing today. But I'll just say this. I don't think this generation, and I used to try to beat it into Trey and Brody's head, and then sometimes I have to realize I'll never forget the time that Ron Weimler's got the job. You know, he follows you. He's coaching at Benton, and I'm in the locker room excited to talk to guys about JoJo Johnson. And like 2 of the 12 guys on the team even know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know, and JoJo Johnson to me was a god. I mean,
Sure,
24
sure.
to me, I mean, I wanted to paint my head like Kenny Irvin.
Sure.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, JoJo, the class of 92, those are the guys. I'm thinking, I could tell you everything you want to know about JoJo and Brian Kern and
Right.
Brian
Great
Holman
team.
and, you know,
Great
I mean, tremendous
team,
team,
yeah.
and Travis Kays and all the different guys on that team. They were tremendous. Brian Drew, all the guys that played, you know, tremendous. Matt Harmon, I'll shut up, I'm naming the whole
Yeah,
team, but
yeah.
unbelievable team,
Sure.
you know. But here's the thing that stands out to me about Rich Heron, and I want you to talk about it. The South 7, you played in it. I did not.
Mm-hmm.
The South 7 was a bloodbath, was a fight every night in basketball.
Sure.
That was a man's conference. All the titles he won, and then the second part, 6 times Rich goes to the state tournament. Coach Heron goes to the state tournament. How many times was Benton in a one-class system?
Yeah, so six times.
One class, not 4.
Yeah, right, one class. Three times we went to state out of the 6. We were in one class.
So you could play someone that's got how many students? I mean, you could.
Yeah, I mean, over 2,000 students, you know. So we, you know, just to say this, and you mentioned JoJo and Danny. I mean,
Oh,
I didn't get a chance to interview Joe. He was a senior in high school when I was a senior. I have a great respect for him because when I used to come back to play, I knew how he was. There was just a fierceness to him.
You said it last night to me.
Fierce.
Competitive wise.
Competitive wise, he's a competitor. And he would, a lot of times when your college guys would come back to play high school guys, the high school guys would, they may not want to guard you or whatever, and he'd walk right to you. And you better.
He was like 12.
You better play, or he would try to embarrass you. He was an incredible player, along with Danny.
Danny would say he was better. Danny would say he was better than Joe.
Is that right? I'm not. Oh, Danny would say he was.
Yeah. We need to get Danny on the show.
I never.
Played in the Final Four. Danny Johnson played in the Final Four. Western Kentucky.
Yeah. And
JoJo's father.
So I'll tell you this about Danny, and this is the competitor he is. When the single season scoring record is now JoJo's at 1,500 something, which blows my mind. It's incredible.
The average.
Now he did play with the 3-point line, but it doesn't matter. 1,500 points is 1,500.
Did he average 30 a game his senior year, or was it close?
I believe it was 30, wasn't it?
It's right around there. It's 29 or 30.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so back in the 60s, Younkus scored 742 his junior year. Junior or senior year, he got 742. That was the single season. In 68, Danny, the next year, in less games, and, I'm not taking away from Rich Younkus.
Sure.
Rich Younkus, a lot of times.
Well, he was the all-time leading scorer in the ACC.
Well, he had.
Still all time at Georgia Tech.
Yes.
Yeah. He had 33 on Dave Cowens one night against Florida State. Dave Cowens is NBA Hall of Fame.
For sure.
Played the
Celtics.
So that's enough said. and so you talking about, but Danny Johnson in 68 comes back that year and gets 744. Wow. One more bucket. So that's the kind of competitor both those guys are.
Hard nosed, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, they really are. And I didn't answer you. Do you remember the first part of your question?
Well, probably not, but we were talking about six classes.
Mm-hmm. The South 7.
The South 7. Winning, didn't you say 11 or how many? Or
So, yeah, and I've got. Yeah. Am I?
It'll be fine.
Okay.
It showed people are watching.
Okay.
Can we edit?
We can.
Yeah.
This shows
Dr. Young back there can do anything.
So
You're a doctor now.
So I got a good story for you on this. At Centralia, they built a new gym. They've done a really good job of.
Is it still called Trout?
New Trout.
Is it New Trout? Okay,
Rainbow
New
Trout. I don't know.
Yeah, if you haven't been in there, they do a really good job of displaying their athletic history. So me and Gehrig were there. I took him to the Centralia tournament, and I wanted him to see what the Centralia tournament was about, the athletes and the talent level that were there. He was probably in junior high. My favorite trophy is the South 7 trophy. It's a big gold basketball that sits under a plaque, and it just says South 7 champs. And you line a bunch of them up, they're beautiful. And so we were looking at the trophy case, and my son said, I know Centralia is a really good program, but I thought they might have more South 7 trophies. And I said, well, they're all over at our place.
Boom.
Because we have 11. And I think okay.
Is that bigger than any stat he has as a coach? 11 South 7 titles.
In my opinion. And the boards are behind the banners in the gym.
Yeah.
Those boards mean something. There's 11 of them up there.
People forget about those boards.
Yeah, there might be 12 because Ron won a couple.
Yeah. I can't forget about those boards because when I used to have the T-shirt gun, I shot one time, and I thought it was going to come down and decapitate somebody. I'm just saying.
They've been hit by a wiffle ball several times, I think, in there. Yeah, those were the games. But, Greg Sterrick played at Kentucky.
Did he ever miss a free throw?
Right, he's 90-some% free. Danny Hester was a center at Mount Vernon that played with Pete Maravich at LSU.
He was Pistol Pete.
And so You're talking about Mount Vernon, Carbondale, Centralia, Marion, Heron, Frankfort. You're talking about Harrisburg. You're talking about every night on the road there. I mean, those were incredible games. I mean, and when we got beaten 67, this is Youngkus' senior year. We're number one in the state. We don't get to the state tournament because Carbondale beats us in the Sweet 16. Yeah. And they had Peaches Laster, who goes to Utah, and they had LC Brasfield, who went to SIU, and they had a ton of players. I mean, that to win the South 7 was an incredible accomplishment,
I don't think, and this is nothing against my boys will both play in the River to River.
Sure.
Most of Trey's career was Ohio, then we switched to Mississippi. Brody will be in the Mississippi for 4 years. Rush, you were same as Trey, you were in the Ohio and the Mississippi. The South 7 was a gauntlet. I'm sitting there talking to Carl Payne's dad. Forgive me for not remembering his first name. He played at Carbondale. His son, DeCarl, plays for John A. right now. Really good shooter for John A. And I've known his dad over the years. Saw him at ball games because his son, DeCarl, was a year older than my son, Trey. And we were sitting there talking, and he said, Travis, there's nothing like the South 7. He said nothing against what my son went through at Carbondale in the South 7, but it is not the same as having to go to Max Morris Gymnasium on a Friday night and then going to Chagnon and then going to Trout and then going to Rich Heron Gymnasium and then going to whatever Heron's gym is called. I mean,
sure.
I mean, just Marion's gym. We won't have I'm not taking anything away from any coach nowadays.
Right, you can't. Yeah.
There won't be another conference like that original South 7. I won't feel bad saying that my whole life.
It was a great conference, and every night was a battle. And again, like you're saying, my son, Trey, you've got a freshman now, Brody, right?
Yes.
It's not,
I think he's 9 now.
I always try to tell Garrick, hey, you got to play against. Look, it's a different time. It is what it is. If they're on the schedule, you got to go get them.
You got to play the dudes that are out there.
You got to play the dudes that are out there. And I've really enjoyed watching the success of our program. A lot of times we've
had quite a run the last few years.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times you're in the good old days, but you don't know it while you're in it. Mm-hmm. But then years from now, you're going to look back, and the last 10 years at least have been really, really good.
Yeah. A bunch of our sports.
We got
a kid that might end up being an Olympian, with Gavin Genesi. Seriously,
Mason Teifel.
Mason Teifel could be an Olympic wrestler. We've got we didn't get a chance to talk about that with Shane Garner earlier. We'll have to bring him back on another podcast, show, honestly, just because talking about everything else. And Dr. Young's like, Travis, you've been on here for 3 hours. But all kidding aside, the run we've had, I've had people say this to me, and I wanted to bring this up. I didn't know if we'd have a chance.
Yeah.
But you went through a really good run in the 80s. Yeah. You grew up in it. Mm-hmm. I saw some good in the 90s. Different sports. Football took off under Jeff Roper.
Sure.
Basketball, we weren't quite as good in the 90s. We just weren't.
Right.
Jeff did a good job with the baseball program, but the three big sports. But look at, you can't say big sports anymore because some people say we're a golf school.
Right.
Your son played golf.
Sure.
Daughter, did Bailey play golf too?
She did not.
Okay, but Gary played golf.
Gary,
Cross country, track, Aaron Robinson in the wrestling program.
Sure.
The football, Justin Groves has been in the playoffs, it seems like 100 straight years.
Yep.
Ronnie Weinmiller has a state runner-up. We're second state, a vacated title. Why can't we have the title, by the way?
Tracks won a little bit.
Tracks won. Mm-hmm. Two-time state champ A.J. Kinsman. Mm-hmm. Think about it. I know you're obviously big with track, and Coach Schert's one of your best friends. Rod was the track coach forever. We've had a run here that is second to maybe none in the last 50, 60 years.
It's been an incredible run. And that's what makes it special is because, it is not just basketball.
No.
It is across the board where our teams are having success. And, you brought up Gabe McLean. And
Yeah,
then
Gabe. It's Gonzaga.
We got Genesio running at Tennessee.
I know.
And we've got we got Teifel out there, and there's just Kinsman.
Kinsman's
Oh
Illinois
boy,
State for track, yeah.
yeah. And how long did Steve hold that discus record? McCommons.
Yes.
And
My dad's best friend. I wonder if he's up there thinking.
yeah. But I mean, what a throw that would have been in the 70s to throw that discus that far, sure. and then you've got these guys coming along right now. So we're doing a lot of things right. I feel like we've got good coaches and good people, and there's buy-in and
good administration.
Good administration.
You were a teacher there. Mm-hmm. How many years at Benton did you teach?
I was there from 02, 03 was my first year, so it's 23 years at Benton.
How good was your super sectional team? I just changed it on you. I just threw your. How good? I'm making you go back to coaching.
Yeah. So the thing that was special about that team.
What year?
02, 03.
Yeah.
First year, right?
First year. That team won 26 games, and we lost 7. Lost 9. And I had those kids in junior high, and so when I transitioned to the high school, I knew the makeup of those kids, but we didn't really know who we were until we played. We had Charleston, Missouri on the schedule, and they came in. They were state champions the year before, and we won by 2, and we just kind of took off. Fraulini, Raby, Kyle Myers was a really good point guard.
Junior?
Raby was a junior. Brad Allen was a senior on that team that played a lot. Jeremy Payne, Neil Atkins, Josh Chady was in there. I'm going to forget some guys.
Okay. You had a great
Drew Fraley.
Drew Fraley.
Oh boy. And we just
Fraley.
those kids got along so well off the floor. There was I don't know what you call it. There was just a great chemistry there.
Yeah.
They didn't want the season to end. I don't remember a bad practice in that year. I've talked to those kids. We just had a real fun year. It was a fun year, and we played our best basketball late in the year. So, and Ryan, I mean, I know we've had a lot of big guys, but Ryan goes under the radar as one of the better players to ever play there, I think.
Trey played 3 years of travel baseball for Justin Barrington. Mm-hmm. Talk about the night Fraulini and Barrington went at it.
Oh.
Was it one of the best games you've been involved with?
Yeah, that was, Barrington had...
Justin Barrington at Carterville,
yeah.
Ryan Fraulini at Benton.
Justin Barrington had 39, and Ryan Fraulini and Ryan had 39. Wow. So they canceled each other out. And I'll never forget the tip.
It was a championship game. Right?
Championship game of the sectional. Yeah. And it was at Hamilton County in the new gym. That gym was kind of new.
That report actually, baselineview.com. I forgot Bullock.
Jack Bullock.
Yeah, Jack. And I was talking to you about that game. That was just
incredible game. And then our point guard, and he had done it all year, but Kyle had a really good game too. He had 20, 21, hit some big shots, hit his free throws late, and
what was the score of that game?
69. It's funny. I only know this because they shot one after the horn from deep and made it, and it wasn't really close to count, but I remember looking up there, and it was 69-66. So he had 39. So,
I've always, I'm a stat freak. I know you love baseball too. I love baseball. I love statistics. Sure. I always have. I mean, did you ever play Stratomatic with my cousin?
I've played Stratomatic
with Marty Leffler.
Yes, that's who it was with. Yes,
it was. It's my cousin in the corner. She shows up at your house, don't answer the door. That's funny. That's because he's the corner. But anyways, no. All kidding aside, did Fraulini not have like 20 rebounds that game? I've always heard it's a gaudy number. His rebound total that game was crazy. Plus, he had 39 points.
He may have.
It was like 18 rebounds. I mean, the stats from that game are like
Yeah. You know, and
A lot of
here's
people think a lot of people think sectional finals are better than super sectional and state games.
right. Oh, you're right. The best game the best game I ever saw at Benton in Rich Herring Gymnasium was the first game of the sectional in 1984, and that was against Carbondale. I've got a picture of it.
Yes.
And
dad
that
does
was
too.
Nurnberger, Carlisle, Baker,
Is that when kids my age are hanging around the rafters?
probably.
Yeah.
And we won that game. They were undefeated. They were supposed to win, and we won that game. And then we beat Taylorville in the championship game, and they had a big foreign exchange student, Hens Kajawa.
Who played it?
He played somewhere.
John went to Illinois.
Illinois. He went to
yeah.
Illinois. And we beat Collinsville in the sectional and the supers. And then, you know, it just broke my heart. We went to the state tournament. We played number 1 Evanston, which was a really tough draw, of course.
Sure.
And then if you watch the game, it's on YouTube. I still think we're going to
Watched
win.
it a couple weeks ago.
I still think we're going to win, even
do
though it's
too.
on. I know the outcome.
I do too.
But I was there, and my heart got broke. But they came back and beat us in overtime. But number 1 in the state, Double A, and we went to overtime with them.
What
so
size of school
pretty
were you
good,
at that time?
you know.
What size of school? How many students did we have back then?
We were in the 700s back then because of the coal mines.
Yeah.
But we did fluctuate some AA. So 1980, I always say this, like I've learned this through that book. I think 1980 might have been our best shot to go and place. And I say that because that would have been Jerry Korn and Steve Schertz and Kent Yancek, Curtis. Tim Wills was sophomore coming off the bench. We made it to the super sectional. We were Class A. Made it to the super sectional, got beat by Oakville by 2. Real close game. Oakville goes and gets second or third, something like that. So we were just right there.
I always hear, I think I brought it up to you on the phone last night, the 91 team, Joe's junior year, the Peters triplets, Steve and Jim start. Senior year, they get beat by Dan Cross at Marion. I always hear that team, if they're A, not double A.
Yeah, I mean that.
Because I can't remember who 91 from down here went. I should know this, and someone's going to get on the podcast and yell at me. But
Oh shoot, who was it?
yeah, but and then you talked about this other one. If Oxen and Wills and Henson are A, or 2A, not 3A,
Still have to go
Right.
through Carmel.
so
Yeah.
we can beat them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that 3A was tough on us.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if a lot you think about this. That team beat Mount Vernon that year. They beat Marion in the regional,
Who are we talking about?
the Oxford and
Yes,
Wills.
yes.
So it would have been Garrick's junior year.
Yes.
So they beat Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon.
They beat Salem that year too, didn't they? Or
They beat Salem.
At Salem.
They beat Cahokia
Bum
in the
Jim,
first
remember?
game of the sectional.
Beat,
So
Upset
they were in the South 7. Cahokia was in the South 7.
beat Carbondale at Carterville to win the regional.
That's right. Beat Carbondale. If they had beaten
The Bone was the
Centralia,
best player. Was it Josh
Yeah.
Bone or one of the Bones, whatever?
if they would have beaten Centralia,
Bone.
they would have ran the table in the South 7. They would have beaten every team in the South 7. That was in my mind.
Oh yeah, it reminded
thought-
you when you played.
Yeah, it's like, man, that would be nice to win a night.
Team
Not
was
only
gritty.
to get to set, yeah, it was the gritty team.
I do want to say one last thing about that team. That I think I told you about this. Like I said, I was your teacher's aide that my senior year at first semester,
Yeah,
and
I put a lot of work on you.
well, we did have a lot of work that one day. Remember, we went to go get the stat books, and
That's right.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay. Yeah.
What about looking at that? That was pretty sick. Doug Collins, whenever he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, that's when we did it. And he didn't score 1,000 points in high school. And I think we looked, and he had 70 points maybe his junior year, something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
He had 76 points as a junior. He didn't play on the team as a sophomore. And when he was a freshman, there was a story about them having open gym in the East Gym And
My dad always says that's the real gym.
that's the real gym. And
People used to line up after school to try to get into that gym to watch the games.
oh yeah, yeah. But
Before Rich Heron Gym was there.
they had this open gym time, and Collins couldn't get in the game.
Wasn't good enough, right?
He was just a freshman, just couldn't get in a game. It wasn't good enough. And-
As an NBA All-Star later
Yeah.
in life, an Olympian should have a gold.
But and I want to say this before we get off here. There's two things when I talk to those guys about Benton basketball and the program. Every one of them, there were two things that jumped out to me. Every one of them said it. Every one of them. The open gyms in the summer. They loved it. They loved the competition. See, open gyms now are different. Coaches can be with them.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same. You can't. The coaches have to create the energy sometimes. And back then, there was just a system where the older guys kind of stepped up and they ran the gym, and you didn't play hard, they got onto you, and it was run by the older players. The other thing that was mentioned was the Centralia tournament. Mm-hmm. Those were the two things that were special to those guys that I interviewed. Every one of them. What was your favorite memory? It was something about the Centralia tournament.
I used to hear it was harder to win the Centralia Holiday Tournament than to win the state title.
I think it was the first. Rod and we talk about this. I think it was the first state. It was like a preview of the state tournament, because you go in there and you look at the Illinois. They had the big map, Illinois, and they had the lights wherever the towns were from, and you literally had schools from every section of the state, and big schools that could play. The greatest win was probably the 66 Centralia tournament win when we beat Thornton,
yeah.
And they were undefeated. And we got a fire truck. And it wasn't the regional or sectional.
Yeah.
Imagine that. All your old timers went up that day and they watched the game, and they were number one, we were number two. So, they all talk about that,
This has been fun, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, I've loved it. Yeah, I love talking about it. Yeah.
I think we go more.
Yeah.
Dr. Young says we have to. 4.5 hours. Russ, finish it up, buddy. Ballin4God, the show. Finish it up with Coach here.
Well, Coach Wynn, I really appreciate you being on here, but just want to do a little snippet here. Just share your testimony and just your walk with God and how it's been the last couple of years. It's with the grandkids especially.
Sure. Well, my mom was really the one that when I was a kid, my mom took me to church with her, and we went to Emmanuel Church. And I still go to Emmanuel. That's just where I went when I was a kid. And I got saved and baptized at Emmanuel when I was a freshman. That is the basketball and athletics, I think, give some of our kids now. I'm so impressed with how some of our kids use it as a platform to show Jesus to others in the way they compete and the way they treat their teammates and things of that nature. And basketball is a very intimate sport. You're right down there with you can see what the players are saying. You can look at body language. I think it's a great platform for kids to express their faith. And in my later years at the high school, I was able to be involved in FCA. We have and I know Shane and Aaron, and they're continuing that, and it's awesome to see kids come to FCA at Benton High School and see those bleachers full, and I think seeds are being planted with that, and
That's what it's all about, man.
that's what it's all about. And so, yeah, I'm teaching Sunday school right now. I'm at church. I've got a young adults class that I really enjoy. It's the first time I've ever taught in a class where I didn't have, say, kids, freshmen or sophomore. I'm teaching, and I'm really enjoying that, you know, and it keeps me in the Word, and you know, so it's just your journey of faith. It's just a lifelong journey to be, you know, to be more like Jesus. You know, it's a lifelong journey. So,
Mic drop.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on again. You weren't our 12th choice, I will say.
Ninth.
But you were
Ninth.
Ninth. But
Joking.
we were planning on getting you on anyways. It
Yeah.
happened a little bit sooner, and it's not. We didn't mind you getting on.
it's okay. Yeah.
Russell, just be honest, man. You're just talking about Jesus. You need to, I mean,
But we were planning on getting you on anyways. But you know, you came a lot quicker than we thought you would, and it's awesome. It's
Thank you. Yeah.
And,
Man, I enjoy talking to you guys. I love, you know, I love talking about faith and basketball are two great subjects to talk about, and I've really enjoyed it. I don't really, you know, the book was something that came out a long time ago, and I've not forgot about it, but it's kind of in the back mirror a little bit just because it was. You know, it's already come out, but I enjoy talking about Coach because I have those memories. I enjoy talking about Benton. I enjoy talking about the school, the Rangers, and basketball, and growing up in Benton are some of the favorite things I love to talk about. So I appreciate you guys having me.
awesome.
yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot more you could talk about, so you might be back on in the future too.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Balling for God, the big show, the podcast here. Travis Severin alongside the man, the myth, the legend, Russell Conwell. Big Russ, I like to call him. It's been a great, great show. We've had a ton of fun. Russ, you couldn't ask for better guests today than Shane Garner, Danny Czerwinski, and Matt Wynn. It was a lot of fun today.
Yes, it definitely was, and I tell you what, the Matt Wynn one, it definitely went on for a while, but there's a lot of good stories. I mean, if you're still sitting here, you obviously enjoyed it. But I mean, hearing from Danny talk about the 4 W's over there in the Midland Trail, starting that little thing up, getting the radio broadcast, and talking to Shane Garner about his time at Sesser, his little start, it was great. It was fun.
I had a lot of fun listening to Matt Wynn also. Obviously, I'm a Benton Ranger through and through. I love sports, but getting to hear, I looked up to Coach Wynn. He's 9 years older than me, and just seeing him play at Benton, I watched him at SIU. Obviously, my family, my father was very, very close with Rich Herron, who Matt Wynn wrote a book about. And, you know, Rich passed away going on 5 years ago. Passed away right at Christmas 2020. So that amazing book that Matt will talk about and his days of playing at Benton, coaching, raising a family. Really cool to hear Shane Garner. And emotional to hear Shane Garner and Matt Wynn talk about their testimony. I mean, this is the Balling for God, the big show, you know, but to hear those guys talk about their relationship with the Lord was awesome to hear, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, I mean, Dr. Young, I almost got him to laugh, which is big. We're gonna have a segment how we get Dr. Young to laugh. Do we have to tickle him? What do you have to do?
I don't know. I think that we do need to do that at some point. Try to figure out if we can get him to chuckle a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, people they think I'm talking to a ghost back there. Big Rush, you want to wrap it up, buddy? What are you thinking?
Well, I hope you really enjoyed this episode because I did. Let's see, we went on. At least there was probably about 3 hours of filming here, but it was about 3 hours. But we'll obviously cut it down.
Did we forget to talk about the All South?
Oh, we did forget
Yeah.
about.
It's my fault. Go ahead.
We're gonna close it out here.
Closing it out.
We also forgot to talk about verse of the week.
Oh, Jesus, help us!
I'm gonna go with verse of the week here first because that's more important than the All South.
It is.
And this was from 5 days ago. Now, when we're filming, it'll be a week ago. Let's get into it. It says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord." Psalm 27:14. I find a lot of good stuff in Psalm. I go back and look in there a lot. I mean, Psalm 23:4 is the verse of that. It's my favorite verse.
Who wrote most of the Psalms?
Was
David.
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 And
Man after God's own heart.
so, yeah, that's good stuff. And wait for the Lord. I mean, that's very impactful. I mean, because a lot of times, I don't know if you want to, but it's tough to wait for the Lord sometimes because you got to do it. You got to wait on His timing.
It's not easy, man. I'm an unbelievably impatient person. So hearing stuff like that kind of puts things in perspective and to wait on the Lord because, no offense, He's in charge of all this.
Yep.
You know?
Nothing of us.
None. Like your sweatshirt today.
Oh, thank you. Jesus is King. Got it from Train. Justin Raby. So now we'll move on to the All-South list. The Coaches Association All-South came out Tuesday, filming on Tuesday. And I'm going to go through my All-South list, just a couple of the guys that are notable. And I'm sure you guys could probably guess who the first-team All-South quarterback is. I mean, Callahan Roper had a heck of a season, and he won Ballin4God Player of the Year. I'm sure he'll win the Southern Illinois Player of the Year.
Tremendous season. I mean, his stats speak for themselves, but I was really impressed with having him on last week, just listening to him talk about his life, his leadership, growing up in Southern Illinois. I mean, he's a very, very well-spoken young man. You can tell he's going to do great things in his life.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be just football.
No.
And that's what he said. He said he's not completely sure if it's football or if it's going to be just college for him, but he said he'll be finding that out relatively soon.
Yes.
But just a couple of the other guys I'm going to go through is on this All-South list. Jonathan Miller, Carterville running back. I mean, he stepped up into a big role this year. Right? Carterville had graduated a lot of guys, and they're wondering, hey, who's going to lead the offense? And it was Andrew Johnson at quarterback, and then they had Jonathan Miller in the backfield. And I believe, to my knowledge, I don't think he had any rushing yards up to that point. And he ended up with nearly 1,500 rushing yards this season.
Heck of a season.
And he's only a junior. He's coming back.
He's coming back for more.
Yeah, he's probably going to be in the running for the Player of the Year, potentially, depending on how the year goes. But you also had Riley Spencer from Benton, had a heck of a career, had a heck of a season. He wrapped up with 2,000 career rushing yards on the year.
Powerhouse. Guy's an old school throwback to like a John Riggins, Mike Allstott. Just powerful legs. Strong dude, toting the rock, man.
Yeah,
heck of a year.
He's planning on continuing his college. He's planning on continuing the college level. And he just went on a visit, I believe, this past week up to Iowa. I forgot. I think it was Grinnell.
Okay.
But he's playing on it, and we also had Junius Thomas, great receiver. This Roper's #1 target. I believe he's tied third all time for career receiving yards.
Wow.
You also had Kenny Bratton from Centralia, another really good receiver.
Just a sophomore.
Hey, be ready for him in basketball season 2.
Yeah, him and Arch. I don't care if they call him Arch. I'm going with Arch. Him and Arch, obviously, were tremendous tandem and in football, and they will carry that over to basketball for the
Speaking
Orphans.
of Arch, he was the second-team quarterback, and he had a stellar career. He's got 2 more years.
He's been all South as a freshman and a sophomore.
His sophomore year, he had the career he had a season that most people would have for a career.
Yeah.
29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and over 2,000 passing yards.
Very talented young man.
And get ready for basketball season. And a couple of the other guys, Jonathan Brown was an at-large pick for first team. He was very talented. I think he ended up with 2,300.
Dual threat. Tremendous passer and runner for DuQuoin. Had a great season. Obviously taking them into the playoffs. He was very fun to watch, and one of the top guys in our whole area.
Yeah, and just to get onto the defensive side of things, this was the first person I put on defense. There's no questions. Ethan McCommons, 2-time All-State player, junior, senior year. He's the all-time tackle leader at Benton, and he is All-South he's my All-South pick. He was just very talented. He's very fun to play with. I played with him all my high school career, and he was very talented, being able to play both sides of the ball.
I've known him since he was born. Obviously we're good friends with their family. And Ethan, following in the footsteps of his dad, Casey, who was a tremendous football player at Benton All-State, All-South. Football family. His grandfather, Steve McCommons, who passed away about 18 years ago, roughly. Steve played at Georgia Tech, which, we were talking about this the other day, how many guys played major Division I football from Benton. There's not been many. Yeah. And he played at Georgia Tech, and then was obviously Casey, who's Ethan's dad, was a really good player. And then Ethan's uncle, Jeremy McCommons, was we were best friends, and actually he was in my wedding, which is Ethan's uncle. We used to live in Virginia together after we got out of college. He was a tremendous all-state football player in the state of Virginia, played at James Madison University. So Ethan comes from a long line of football players.
Yes, and maybe some more will be coming down that line.
That's right. Let's hope.
A couple other guys on that All-South list for the defense. There's 4 Benton guys on that defense. Heck, they allowed 6.5 points per game.
Great defense. We just talked about Casey McCommons, but he's D coordinator there. Justin Groves' team, obviously Benton had a really good 9-0 regular season, and they were rewarded for it.
Yeah.
You want to name some of those guys?
A couple of the other guys. Caleb Dawson, career tackle leader, I believe, now at Benton. And he tied the season tackles with 8. Sacks. Season sacks and career sacks leader. Yes. And then we got John Salatis. He
just a junior.
Career TFL leader already. I forgot the exact number, but he is only a junior, and he's ready to come back. You got Dane Kruger there. How about Dane Kruger? He was I wouldn't say
steady.
Wouldn't say overshadowed, but he was right there with Ethan McCommons. Always it was like his Robin to Batman. Goodness, Ethan McCommons was Batman.
We've been here 7 hours, so it.
And Dane Kruger was Robin.
And Dr. Young's looking at the time. No, Dane Kruger had a great career at Benton High School. Tackling machine. The middle of that defense was unbelievable at Benton. Yes. You don't go 9-0. You don't run through the gauntlet of the Mississippi Division Conference undefeated without a great defensive group. And the linebackers, obviously, you just talked about. Ethan and Dane were rewarded with, all South their senior year.
Yeah, and then you can't forget about Caleb Zito. Took a big step up this year.
Caleb Zito had a great year at corner for them.
Always working in the weight room.
Always. If you've seen the kid as a freshman to a senior year, it looks like a completely different human. And then also he's going to, I think, try to play in college. Greenville. So, had a great senior year.
A couple other guys I just want to highlight is Jeremiah Jones. One
electric with the ball.
One of the best duels. Played both sides of the ball. He was my first team choice for flex player, which is running where he runs the ball, receives. Heck, he can do whatever he wants, I think. And he was a really good athlete for DuQuoin. He played defense as well, very solid defensive player. He's been very consistent over his whole career. He was one of my favorite players to watch this past year.
Yes. Like I said, electric. That's what just comes to mind with him. A playmaker, game changer with his athletic ability.
And then another guy, just like we'd mentioned, Jeremiah Jones. How about Kobe Cali?
Kobe Cali had a tremendous year. Obviously your senior year, he was a junior. You guys, my son got to play right across from him when they were both playing corner, last year. And Cali just tremendous. He could do everything. Offense, defense. He's in on every play. Could block, could catch, could tackle. You name it. Kobe Cali, Swiss Army knife of your football team. Literally anything you could throw. He came in. Think about the Nashville game. Comes in quarterback, throws a touchdown to Aiden Walters. Kobe Cali was great player this year for the Benton Rangers.
Just a couple other guys I want to highlight. Defensively is Tony Kistner from Sesser. Black Diamond guys, they don't get much recognition, but he was a big boy. He was a hoss. And farmer kid, he got some good defensive reps. Jamison Jones took a big step up for Carterville this year. Carterville, Benton and Carterville is 1-2. Who was the best team in Southern Illinois all year? And those were our two teams, and Jones was another guy on that defense for Carterville.
Tony Kistner's claim to fame will probably be in the fact that when he was in 4th grade, I was his basketball coach for Future Rangers.
And you got to remember that. Future Ranger basketball has a lot of legends.
It has a lot of legends in it, and Tony's one of them. Now he's all South football.
Yes.
I think we laid the groundwork.
Yeah. Future Ranger basketball does lay the groundwork, I will say.
It does. Laid it for you.
And look where I'm at now.
Look.
I was a 3-time champ.
3-time. Back to back to back.
beat Docker a couple times.
Maybe get yeah.
So, our last guy that I want to recognize, some Flora guys.
Okay.
Andrew Shelby from Flora. He was offensive lineman and defensive lineman. But offensive line, he was outstanding. I mean, I think he had allowed zero pressures this year, and he was very outstanding. I believe he's playing in some sort of all-star game this December.
Nice.
And he helped lead Flora not only to their first playoff win, but how about to the quarterfinals?
Yep.
And Flora just wrapped up an outstanding season. I think that you would have said Flora would have made the playoffs, but I don't think anybody would have said, hey, they're going to go to the quarterfinals and win their first 2 playoff games.
I mean, they went further than anybody in the Deep South.
Yeah. And so that's just a couple of the guys that I want to recognize. I definitely not recognize more than I should have. There's a lot more. There's some guys that didn't even make the list that definitely could have.
Yeah.
And so if you want to go check out the full All-South list, just go on Ballin4God Instagram page or the TikTok or Facebook, and you can see the full list. And, hey, if you have anybody that you think should have made it, just let me know. Obviously, I can't change it now, but maybe I should have considered them more.
There you go. Russ, you're doing a great job, man. Doing a great job with all this.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I guess we're going to wrap this up. But, hey, make sure to stay tuned because we got some good guys coming. And, hey, we might be in a new place.
Might be in a new place next week. We're going to transition big time into basketball.
Yeah.
And I think next week's show, this was a lot of fun, but next week's show has the makings of big Thanksgiving feast. I'm raising the roof.
Yes. Man, Thanksgiving's next week.
Dr. Young, what are you cooking for us next week?
You better make it something good, man.
You making something because it's Thanksgiving.
No, I can't cook.
You can't cook.
We might have Miranda come over.
We might have to get. You know what? We also are going to have a future segment on getting Doc Young a date.
Yep. Dr. Young does need a date at some point.
Got to get it.
So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll catch you here next week, next Thursday. Make sure to just go check out all the pages and let us know what you think. And see you guys and answer trivia.